All right, well, let's get going with episode 221. I think everyone is saying that's too many, but I'm not listening yet. We'll find out. Maybe the next one I'll say.
Who are they? Point them out. Say names.
Oh, right, 1 and 2. You two, right
Give me
there.
names. Give me addresses. Give me DNA samples. I'll take
And those voices you're hearing are Dan and Kyle, and my name is Tim. And we're going to talk about video games and maybe perhaps possibly a major movie that just dropped. We're in movie season, people, and almost every weekend there is something of note. So
and nobody is going to see any of them.
And
all of them are failing at the box office right now.
It's not good. But if Jeff were here, he'd be talking about not only the main movies, but also like the movies that no one's ever heard of.
We're very under showcasey on those types of movies now. So
yeah, it's true. But he'll be back at some point because we will guilt him into it at some point in the future.
Yeah, come on and talk movies for 30 minutes.
It'll happen.
He's like, well, this one Swedish movie about a girl went missing and something like
and then
that.
Tell me more, please.
She fell in love with a scooter. It's like, what?
Yeah, right.
It's called Scooter to My Heart.
It's called Scooter Meet Timbers. I don't know. I didn't know where I was going with that bit.
Scooter to My Heart.
Heartin' and scootin'.
Scoot into my heart. Yeah.
Scoot into my heart. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Scoot into my heart. It's coming. That's the
An AI Whitney Houston sings the song. It's gonna be perfect. Yeah.
Oh man, and nobody would be upset by that.
Cannes next year.
That's amazing. This is why we need AI, because we could just tell them, make a movie called Scoot Into My Heart, starring. Who's it starring, by the way, real quick?
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon, yes.
Matt Damon
as the lead. Okay,
right. And opposite, who's his love interest?
Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Sure. Yeah, they're age appropriate. That's a great pick.
That's fine. Although Matt Damon, it's usually going to be someone 20 years his junior, but that's fine. We can go.
That's okay. No. We're doing AI. We're doing it right. You know.
We're doing it right. Yeah, we're not doing it the real way. We're doing it the right way. Got it. All right. So Scoot Into My Heart coming to theaters near you. Check it out. Jeff will go see it and he'll tell us all about it when he's back.
He will. Yeah. I'll start going to ChatGPT and making this bad boy up.
That'd be amazing. I would have to watch these movies that AI makes. It's
Can't
all
wait
thanks
for the AI Oscars.
I've been watching a lot of like dudesy stuff, catching up on some of that.
Yeah.
I probably did like 9 episodes this past week of just catching up on Backlund. It's so funny. It's just so fun to binge that stuff. But then also watching a ton of Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend, because on YouTube at least they're in anywhere from like 5 to 20-minute clips and sometimes full episodes.
Mm-hmm.
But man, they're so good. Just their openings. I like the interviews too. The interviews are fun, but I really just like him and Sona and Matt Gurley. Or Gorley? Gurley. I can't remember how.
Is his last name Gurley? That would be hilarious.
Really cool if it was.
Might be Gorley. Anyway, it's one of his co-hosts, and their rapport is just so good. It's just really funny.
But they've been working together for so many years.
Yeah. Well, him and Sona, of course. Since she was right out of college, basically. And
yeah.
And then him and this Matt fella. I think it's been a shorter amount of time, but he's been their real podcast kind of guru. So anyway. Really funny. Highly recommend that stuff. It's just pure silliness, and I really, really like it. So I'm spending way too much time with that on in the background while I'm doing stuff. That's been my, I don't know.
Speaking of podcasts, I watched the, I forget if it was you, Kyle, or maybe when Jeff was still here, the Bill Burr and was it Bill Mayer?
Oh yeah. Bill Maher and Bill Burr.
Oh.
Yeah, Bill Maher, sorry.
Bill Maher, okay. I was like,
and his little sitting there smoking weed on the armchairs podcast he does.
I watched that was a good one. Man, Burr just drilling into him for like 2 hours.
Yeah, there is clearly a power dynamic between those two Bills, and one is by far the superior to the other.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Although Bill Maher fancies himself a intellectual political commentator and comic, Bill Burr, I think, is way more insightful. He certainly did
call himself that. Yeah, all of those things. He certainly does think himself those things. Yeah.
And Bill Burr, he comes across as just a ranter who loves sports and like get these pink things out of my NFL. No, he's actually quite thoughtful and much smarter than Maher, I think. So I did watch that too, Dan. I liked it.
Yeah, it was fun. It was funny. And then like you see people like, whether they're tweeting clips of it or whatever, and they're like, "Oh man, this is a good one. He's getting demolished." This Bill Maher. It's like,
the internet thinks there's a lot more beef going on than there actually is, but like it is super cool, and there is like it's fun beef. You know what I mean? Like they both know what they're doing.
They're both comedians.
This is like their third interaction together, like on this type of level, long conversation style or whatever. So it's like. it's not like, this is like a new thing for them. So, but it is very entertaining watching the Battle of Bills.
Yes. I like when there's like fake beef that also has a little bit of real sting to it, where you're like, yeah, they set this up.
There's some definitely real sting going on for sure.
Yeah, and I like that. I also, I know that she became super popular. I'm not sure how. I don't think she's all that funny. That Bobby Altoff girl who does interviews.
Yeah.
So I only know her because of Rick Glassman. I saw her on his show and I was like, who is this girl?
Yeah.
So I started looking at some of her interviews and I was like, I get it. She does the whole like, I'm not interested in you at all. I'm offended by everything you say.
Oh,
that's her whole character. Dude. She's dry. And
she's insufferable.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's insufferable.
Watch when Andrew Santino and her on the golf course.
That episode was fantastic because he played so hard. And she was not ready for like his like dominance.
He took over, and it was so funny when he asked her at one point if she would ever do an OnlyFans, and he's like, "You wouldn't make any money."
That's hilarious.
He's like, "Actually, you might. Tell you what, this is what you should do: fully clothed, nothing sexual, just every day, put a different color piece of tape over your mouth."
Got him.
My favorite is when he's like, "I have an assistant. I have a male and a female. I pay the female less. I don't know. I don't make the rules." And she's just stewing. Like, I know. And I know it's fake. You know what I mean?
She says, "How much less?" He goes, "I think like
how much less?
10%, like whatever Biden tells me."
10%. I don't know. I didn't make it up. Yeah. So like she's biting into it, but like he's just steamrolling her, and it's so hilarious. It's so funny. Speaking of Santino on Bad Friends, they had that kid who stormed the Game Awards stage like a couple years ago. Yeah. He's like just so at the time he was 15, but he's just some 17-year-old like twerp who is super not funny, and I don't know why the hell they had him on his podcast, but like it was a waste of an hour.
What he did, right? I mean,
no, they didn't even talk about it, not once. They didn't even bring it up.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Bobby Lee just liked his like YouTube channel and brought him on, and Andrew Santino was not into it, and he made it very known that he did not like this kid in not a bit way. So that part was at least funny, but it was like a waste of an hour. I was just like, come on. Just watching this kid try and be funny. He's 17. Like no one's funny at like you're dumb at that age. Like it's really hard to find like a really
very
funny
few exceptions.
Person. Very few.
Bo Burnham was probably funny at 17.
Bo Burnham, yeah, for sure.
But yeah, no, Santino's one of those guys, and I feel like I've seen some of his comedy. I think he's funny, but he never stands out to me as a favorite. But in conversation, his quick-wittedness and his just his burns, I find him to be so fun.
He yes-ands better than most podcast guests. So it's like if Rick Glassman and him are together, and Rick Glassman's like, "I'm here to play," and Andrew Santino is just gonna play, like he's gonna abandon whatever plan he had just to play. And I do like that, like yes-and like mentality to him, because I like his stand-up, but like it's more of a like, I what you said I agree with, not like funny. You know, there's a lot more, and it's not that he's political or making a lot of points, but it's just like, I see what you did there. But like, he's a lot quicker on podcasts, I think, when he's just like not
it's unexpected. It's almost like he picks up on something that no one expected, even him, and he just goes with it. It's funnier.
He also says that he's one of those types when people say, "Hey, I think you're funnier on podcasts." He's like, "Of course you do. You're getting my comedy from the tap. It's not like edited." Or like watered down or whatever. True. He's like, you're getting it straight from the of course you like me better on a podcast. And I was like, that's a good way to think about it. You know what I mean? Like he's better unfiltered, for some people.
Dan, you've seen him before in The Office. He's on the boat and he's really annoyed.
Oh, okay. See, I thought that's who so I've seen the one clip where he's going up against Bobby or whatever, doing that. They're on like a golf cart or something, right?
Oh,
There's
that episode, but he's the actor in The Office on the boat.
Yeah.
And
he keeps whacking Andy's hand.
Yeah, he smacks him so many times.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's very funny.
Yeah, he's funny.
All right, well there you go. There's your YouTube corner, everybody. That's what we're watching.
Go watch a podcast, a funny one. Go watch a funny podcast.
Yeah, that's right.
Dudesy is always a good time. It's literally always fun. They just have it, and especially if you were a wrestling fan, but even if you weren't, it's still a good time.
Yeah.
And an anime fan, they make each other watch. Like, well, Dudesy. Because
Chad's a gamer anime guy, and Will's a wrestling guys, so like they make each other, or dudesy, make them do the opposite pretty much. So
well, he's thrown out a Goku cosplay, right? Didn't he? Like,
yeah,
literally...
he did do Hulk Hogan, Hulk Goku-kin or something like that.
Goku-kin.
Yeah, Hulk Goku Hogan, Hulk Goku-kin.
Well, let me tell you about anime, brother.
Oh, Kamehameha, dude.
God
so
damn
good.
it.
So good. It really is. I highly recommend it. It's just a good time. Like, and I need sometimes
actual real conversations about AI, the state of AI, where it's probably going. Some of it doom and gloomy, some of it optimistic. So it's like if you're really looking for some real takes on AI without having to read like just walls of text, this is the way to do it. 'Cause it's really palatable. You're going to get a laugh at the end of it, and you're going to learn a lot, I think.
And of course, it's shaped by writers and comedians, but there is an element of surprise to it. They don't always know what's coming, but of course, it's shaped in some way, shape, or form by
the AI is creating stuff on the fly. So if they talk about something, like it'll be like, yeah, that'll be like this and that and this happening, and then like it'll cook that up and then show that picture like 3 or 4 sentences later. So it's very interesting how like off the cuff it is, and how real AI is being used, even though there's an element of kayfabe, if you want to use that.
The diary stuff
buying into the premise.
No one wrote that. AI wrote Will's fake diary, but using real facts about his childhood.
Rachel Crustacean,
and he has to read it in Stone Cold Steve Austin's voice, and it's so funny. Like, he has to read his own diary that he didn't write. So AI wrote.
There's elements of it that are kind of from his hometown and childhood, but like it's all just made up. It's so good. Yeah, it's absolutely outstanding.
It's brilliant. Highly recommend it. All right, but hey, let's talk video games a little bit. There's been a couple of new games released. Let's just get one out of the way that I don't think any of us are playing, but I know is beloved and is worth looking at, especially if you're a fan of the series. Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door is out. It's just getting rave reviews. Are you guys playing this?
Oh, I'm playing it.
All right, Dan,
are you?
Tell me what you think about this game.
Well, so I've been I was excited to play because one, I had heard that this is like the Paper Mario to play. Like, this is the best one. And I've not played any of the Paper Marios.
Whoa, Mario 64 is my personal favorite, but yeah, I'm interested to hear about what you say about this one for sure.
Yeah, this was the second one. Yeah, because it was the 64 one, and then GameCube.
I only played the 64 one, and then I played the Wii one. If you guys remember that one at all,
okay.
I do. Yeah, the 64 one is the most RPG, if I remember. I'm interested to hear, because I never played the next two for whatever reason. So I'm interested to hear about this one.
This one does feel pretty RPG to me. As far as like exploring the world, that is platformy. But when you're doing combat, it literally like brings, there's a whole like pomp and circumstance to the presentation of like when the combat happens. I don't know if that's the case in 64, but like a stage pops up and there's like,
I remember something like that. Yeah.
There's like enemies out in the seats and some toads and stuff, and like that kind of plays an element too in there, which is interesting. Like kind of like cheering you on and giving you like these like star points so you can do these certain abilities. But yeah, it's turn based. And Mario, obviously being the main character, he's got his hammer, and then he could do a jump attack. So there's like, as far as the jumping, it feels like it's like a carryover from Mario RPG.
That's how I felt about 64. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think this is the closest we're ever gonna get.
Well, like I think for me, like when those were coming out, it was a little bit of like, I didn't want to play them out of spite, because it was like, no, screw you. I want my Mario RPG, and I want sequels to that. Don't give me this paper nonsense.
There's the Dan that I like.
Because I don't know. To me, like whenever I'd see screenshots of it or whatever, I just wasn't interested, because like it's Mario, and I'm not seeing these interesting characters, and it's paper and whatever.
Was it because Square had gotten into bed with Sony by that point, and it was like, we're not making?
I think so.
I bet if you tracked back, yeah, I bet that's the tether there for sure.
I think Paper Mario 64 was like code named Super Mario RPG 2. Like I think it was supposed to be a sequel, and then
if that's true, I would love that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think there are articles and stuff out there that discuss it. I don't remember if it's just like rumors or hearsay or if it's actually documented, but there was a Super Mario RPG 2, and then it like morphed into Paper Mario, and I'm guessing that probably maybe was the falling out with Nintendo and Squaresoft.
Well, so. I know that like Mario RPG, I think, was one of the last things they did together Because
it wouldn't be until
7,
I was gonna say it wouldn't be until like Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles or whatever, where they would link up again. I don't think. I could be
Game
wrong
Boy
on
Advance,
that.
they started putting out some games, but
yeah.
That's true. They had a game. They still had a portability.
They did like the
factor.
Tactics games and some re-releases of
Advanced Tactics was built.
By the way,
that,
Advance, one of the best libraries ever, dude. If you ever look back,
Advance is like one of my favorite consoles of all time.
Crazy. Anyway, sorry, I know we're getting off track, but I do
maybe next top 10 list.
Top 10 Game Boy Advance. By the way, we've done a top PS2 games before. I looked back; it was like only a year ago, but whatever. Our lists are pretty similar.
Really? A year ago? Wow, man. None of us had a memory of it. That's hilarious.
I got to tell you though, like the fact that none of us remembered, it tells me two things. One, we talk a lot and we just don't remember everything we said.
Sure.
Number two, it's just such a freaking good library. None of us blinked at creating a top 10 because it's so fun to talk about.
Yeah, I bet you the 10s were probably different too.
My top one was the same. But my other ones were moved around a bit. But my number one was still the same. But
yeah.
Maybe a year ago I hated Metal Gear Solid. I don't know.
Might have.
Yeah, I'm sure. No. Just like for like 5 minutes, right? For 5 minutes.
Yeah.
That's definitely not what it is. So I know that Thousand Year Door still is turn-based. So is Paper Mario. It wasn't until the later ones that they added a little more action to them. But doesn't it still have the timing on the attacks?
Yeah, is this still timed?
Yep. So the combat, I'm still pretty early on. So at this very moment, I'm not quite getting what the magic is of this particular one yet. I'm still kind of like, it feels like it's just still early. Like I got the first star, so there is a whole. I don't know if did they have the star, like were there stars in 64?
I really don't remember. Sadly, okay. Yeah, it was just so long ago. I
Okay.
remember the combat and like.
Oh, you were getting
stickers.
Why am I thinking of stickers? Was that a different one?
Stickers kind of sounds right to me. Yeah, stickers might be.
I swear one of the later ones.
Maybe that's a Wii one too. I don't know. I
or
remember
DS
stickers.
one. I don't know anymore.
Well, either way, this one has 7 stars, very similar to Super Mario RPG that you're collecting. So I got the first one. So I think I'm like let's say 3-4 hours into the game. So it feels like it's still early if I'm getting 6 more stars. So I'm not like I don't get yet why everyone loves this game so much. But that being said, I'm not like hating it or anything. It's not clicking for me like, I get why people are like really love this game.
The one I loved was the Wii one. The perspective shift was so creative and the art style was
one. That didn't it swooped around or something, right?
Yeah, it would go like behind Mario. It was very creative, almost Fez style. It was really good. These other two I remember liking, but they never hooked me truly. It reminded me of my time with games like Costume Quest, where it's very charming and colorful and cute and good writing, but like it's not really for me. So after a certain number of hours, I'm like, I think I'm good. Like I get it. I think I'm good.
Well, so I think that's definitely the first thing that sticks out to me. Aside from the visuals looking really nice, because this is like a remaster, whatever you want to call it. So it looks really nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Like legit, like it's crazy how like the Switch is obviously not as powerful as a Series X or a PS5, but like there are just certain games on the Switch that like I don't know what sorcery they're doing, but it's just the way the lighting hits certain textures, and it's just like it legit looks like there's like a sheen on a piece of paper or cardboard in this game. Like it straight up looks like actual cardboard or a piece of paper.
But it's mostly first party games, right? Like Kirby Forgotten Lands had those moments. Zelda, of course, had those.
I was
Mario Odyssey,
Zelda for sure.
Yeah.
But the writing here is, like you said, there was probably a consistency there. The writing is really funny. It's really quirky. It's pretty silly. But early on, there was like Mario was talking to this character that you meet and then you recruit. And in the background, there was like these mobster looking characters that like snuck up behind like the guards and just started like roughing them up. And there was like an exchange going back and forth, like conversation that like I stopped reading what she was saying to see what they were kind of like saying in the background, which was really funny. And then they like left. So like little things like that, which is kind of like, I think, charming and interesting to kind of notice in the background. But yeah, the writing is definitely like really funny and really good. So I think that's probably a big thing. But yeah, the combat has elements of creativity so he has his hammer. So certain enemies, you want to use a hammer or use the jump attack. Like, so if you're hitting a Koopa with a jump attack, it's going to then fall on its back and flail a bit, which gives you the extra turn so you can take them out more easily.
Yeah, makes sense.
or a Goomba that has a hat with a spike on his head. You don't want to jump on him because then you're gonna damage yourself. So you want to use the hammer instead. So things like that.
Strategy.
So there's that element there. And I'm sure as the game's going to progress, there's going to be more of that, where it's going to be more like thinking of like, oh, how do I tackle this? So
just Mario, or do you have a party?
So you do have a party, but it's only one extra character at a time. So there's only 2 on the field. Okay. I have 3, including Mario. I have a party of 3. And I think that's one of the things where I'm kind of not totally feeling, where it's like, so the first character is like this girl Goomba. And then the second one is like this Koopa character that's kind of like, he's a little timid. And he's like, oh, I want to do the thing that I want to accomplish, but I'm kind of scared. And it's just like, it's just a Koopa and a Goomba. And I'm like, I don't care about you two. Like, I just, aesthetically, I don't care about these 2 characters.
It's so different because your first team up in Mario RPG is Mallow, who's one of the most intriguing characters.
Yeah.
Like, who is this little guy?
He's just a cute, fluffy boy. And then you have Gino, which is this, doll come to life, and he's a badass. And then,
hey, does Square own the rights to them or something? How come they never included them, you think, in their future games?
Listen, I mean,
yeah, I'm like almost certain it's got to be licensing or something.
Sakurai, you did a great job with Smash Brothers, but how dare you not add Gino? How dare you not add Gino in Smash? And I know you can use
Smash is perfect. You're wrong. No, Smash is perfect. Sorry.
Kyle,
how
dare
it's perfect.
Is Mallow in Smash in any way? Like even as like a little assistant?
Maybe as a trophy. Maybe I think Gino and Mallow are trophies. If I'm not mistaken.
Gino is the little like me customizable fighter. You can dress up as Gino, but that's not good enough for me. That's not good enough.
Yeah, even if it was trophies, I imagine it's not good enough. But yeah, I think they were trophies too. I mean, you're talking like hundreds of trophies over the course of 4 games. I'm sure they've shown.
I need his little wooden finger to pop open and a laser to be able to shoot out.
Yeah,
that's what I need.
Absolutely. 100%.
It is interesting though that these Paper Mario games really did continue the spirit of Mario RPG, and I feel like if they owned the license to those characters, that would have been the chance to include them.
Put them in.
Yeah. Did so.
But yeah, they spun off clearly, and I'm guessing that it's definitely that breakup that they had with Nintendo, that then they just spun off, did their own thing,
and it is Squaresoft back then, not Square.
Right.
Like it's just like who knows what the weirdness was after all those like name changes and stuff. Who owns what?
Yeah. But I think it is interesting so far. I think it's pretty. The music is great. Like that, it's got that Nintendo charm where there's a lot of like horns going on and like all these interesting instruments. Like they definitely have a range of like they tried different things. There's like the typical Mario theme, the but then it kind of like jumps into like a different pattern, which almost kind of throws me off sometimes because I'm anticipating like what I normally hear in the platformers, and then it's like it's actually a different version of the song. I'm like, oh, that's wait, but it's not okay. But it's still fun though. So yeah, I think it's definitely really charming and interesting. I want to get further to kind of see if that thing clicks where I'm like, oh, I get why people like super love this game. I'm just not quite there yet, but there are definitely elements that I'm enjoying. So
nice. Yeah, as far as I am aware, and I'm sure there's going to be a Nintendo Direct, if not during the Summer Games Fest week, then around it. But I think Luigi's Mansion 2, that HD remake, is the last big Switch game we're aware of, I think, on the calendar at least. So we had this one for May. We got Luigi's Mansion 2 in June. And then I don't think we have any answers for what's coming next. I think it's true.
I think they announced a couple more, for the summer. I don't know how big, but a couple, swan songs for the system.
Yeah, give me Metroid Prime 2 remastered. Give me Wind Waker HD. Like, bring those things over.
God, yeah.
And you
I was about to say,
I don't even love Twilight Princess, but like, I would totally replay it if you brought it over. Like, I would.
I was gonna say you're wearing the shirt, and that reminded me. Like, they HDized Wind Waker.
Yeah, on the 3DS. Yeah.
Why is that not on the
I don't know. Maybe it's just so weirdly like if it's so specifically created for the 3DS with all the technology in mind, like the touchscreen, so like that. Maybe it would.
No, it was for the Wii U, wasn't it?
It was Wii U.
Oh, was it on the Wii U?
Yeah,
I'm pretty
That's
sure
why I never got it. Yep, it was
Ocarina of Time.
No, sorry.
Wind Waker and
oh yeah, sorry. No, I'm talking about Ocarina of Time.
Dude,
Ocarina 3D. That is well though. That as well, though. That would be
same
rad.
thing with the Wii U. I mean, the same argument I was making. Maybe there's so much stuff tied to the touch screen of the Wii U for Wind Waker. Like maybe like reverse engineering, it's not as easy as just like we'll just like bring it over. Like maybe the coding is so ingrained in like that specific like touch screen and stuff like that, which is why so many games are like entombed on the 3DS as well. You know, like a lot of games you just like won't ever be able to play ever, except unless you have some really interesting emulation with like some really
Elite
interesting
Beat
setup.
Agents will never be played again unless you have a DS.
Much. Cooking Mama and the way that we used to play it will never be played again.
Goddamn Cooking Mama.
Yeah, Cooking Mama. Yeah. No, I'm totally there. I'm totally there with you. That's one that I'm like. That's one question that I'm wondering. What is Nintendo going to do the rest of the year? The easy answer to me seems to be bring over some whatever remaining Wii U things are there that they haven't.
Don't blow your wad on a new game. Like just bring something over, you know.
Like
unless
Princess
it's
Peach.
Platform, you know.
Princess Peach was brand new.
Cross-gen, you know.
I don't think they've done much. What else have they done new this year?
Yeah, there was the Peach one. I forgot about Peach.
Otherwise, it's been mostly like. I know. It's been mostly like remasters and stuff like that. So it's like, keep doing that if you need to.
Yeah, you could do Metroid Prime 2. You could do, Skies of Arcadia.
Kyle, don't you dare! Kyle, don't do this to me. Don't do it.
Nintendo.
Yeah.
I mean, they did have the GameCube version, which was the like definitive edition of it. So
because it was Dreamcast and then the GameCube was the main one, right?
Yeah.
I'll be curious to see what Nintendo announces. By the way, next week, my plan is for next week for us to have that as a discussion topic of just making some predictions. What do we think we're going to see over the next 2 weeks or so of the not E3 season? So there's already stuff that's come out this past week. I'm sure in the coming week we'll see a few trailers and announcements, but it's the following week, building up to June 7th, which is the Game Fest event. That will really get the news. And then, of course, over the weekend, you've got like Microsoft and whoever else, Ubisoft, I think, are doing their big presentations. Yeah. I'm sure we'll get a state of play from Sony if we haven't had one announced yet. I'm sure we'll get one of those.
Very curious about Microsoft and Ubisoft.
I was going to say we're all wondering like what like Microsoft's doing and Nintendo doing. What the heck is PlayStation doing? Like, we don't know what they're
same.
We don't know what their roadmap is at all, you know. So it's like what a blind time. Like I feel like this is the most blind we've ever entered into a year.
They have had a strong year of really good third-party partnerships between Square, of course, with Rebirth, but also with Stellar Blade and Rise of the Ronin. They've had a really strong like third-party, exclusive lineup so far this year. So. Yeah, props to them for that. They planned it out well. They probably knew they were going to have a big slowdown in 2024 in terms of their major first-party games. So like so far, first half of the year for Sony, I mean, they're not necessarily my personal favorites. Rebirth I loved, but the other two, Rise of the Ronin and Stellar Blade, aren't necessarily my personal faves, but they're solid games. They're really good. So they've done a good job this year, which I think is cool. All right, and real quick, I'll touch on one other new game that's technically not released yet. I got invited to the closed beta for 33 Immortals because I'm super cool. No, I just signed up for an email list. So it's the Thunder Lotus folks who made Spiritfarer and Sundered and
and those great games. Studio,
really good studio, really great art style. Reminds me a ton of the Sundered art style where it's kind of painted and splashy the way things move. Not splashy is the wrong word, but there's a flow to the animation style. So 33 Immortals. I think I played 2, I guess you could call them rounds. Your opening one is more of a tutorial. You get, I think it's a weapon at random. I got a bow and arrow, and you just go through, and you're supposed to lose. You're supposed to go into these things called tombs or torture chambers, I think they're called. And you die, like, it's really hard. You get overwhelmed with enemies. And I was immediately like, is this game going to be stupidly difficult? Like, not even fun difficult, just like stupid difficult. And of course, you're supposed to have a team of people. The whole idea is that you are supposed to be with these other immortals, other players, and you don't have to like be in a group. You literally, whoever is playing at the same time is put into the same map, and you're all running around, and you'll see everyone on the map, and you can go like help each other or not. If you want to go solo, you can. But then as these little torture chamber tombs open up on the map, which is where you can get really good items and upgrades, you'll see there's 6 spots available. Of the 33 of you, only 6 at a time can go in a group to that challenge. So you'll see the spots open up, and as they fill up, it'll go away. Like once those 6 are in, they go in the tomb and they do their thing, and the rest of you are still out on the map fighting enemies, unlocking chests, breaking pots to get items and stuff like that. So it's a cool game. It's like an isometric action game, sort of action RPG style. You have a bunch of weapons to choose from: daggers, sword, magic, bow and arrow. You have a whole bunch of things you can choose from, and the combat feels pretty good. I'm not sure yet. I'm pretty early, so I don't know what real upgrades feel like or what the weapon variety feels like. I've tried bow and arrow, magic, and sword, and I like all of them. But they complement each other. Like the magic has a special move that you can send out in a broad cone that slows enemies down, which is huge. If you've got someone with bow and arrow or with daggers that's trying to attack quick, and you just slow them down, they can come in there and do a bunch of damage while you're slowing everybody down. So there's a bit of a unspoken balance to what everyone's doing, but there's also not a requirement. Everyone could pick sword if they wanted to, and just go and use sword. But anyway, yeah, a little bit of a Hades vibe at times to it. The way you kind of go back to your home base and can upgrade things and talk to NPCs and get quests, and chat with other characters, and then go start your run. So there's a little bit of that roguelike vibe to it, just with lots and lots of other players. So I thought it was cool so far. It's on Epic Games only, I think, when it does release. The closed beta was not hard to get into. I've been on the mailing list, and I just responded to an email that they sent saying, "Do you want to be on our closed beta that goes from now till June 2nd?" And I just clicked the button that said sign me up, and then I got a code back.
Nice.
So,
easy.
So anyway, yeah, it's pretty cool. 33 Immortals. This is one that when it was announced, I know at least a few of us were like, "Ooh."
Yeah, I was very interested in its art style and just the concept of it. So
yeah, it's kind of fun. So if you like Diablo, Helldivers, these kind of like multiplayer experiences that are really quick to drop in and play together.
Yeah,
with strangers or not.
Helldivers is a really good comparison. I think everybody would love to be the next Helldivers. So
I think they would.
I hope.
Yeah, that's the big goal, right? So
right.
So yeah, I think it's worth taking a look whenever it does release, somewhere publicly.
Is that only going to be on PC when it comes out, or is that going to be on PC and consoles?
I think the goal, I could be wrong, but I am assuming the goal, just like Hades 2, is to release everywhere. It's just their kind of beta or early access or whatever this is PC only.
But there is a Xbox trailer, like labeled Xbox, so unless it's Xbox PC, that could be.
It wouldn't surprise me if this is on Game Pass. I know that Spiritfarer and Sundered and Jotun.
It was, good point.
On Game Pass, so I wouldn't be surprised if they have a deal there to do that. So, and hey, Xbox,
whatever, Game Pass is dying or whatever.
Yeah, it's dying. It's dead already, actually. It's fine. So there you go, 33 Immortals, pretty cool little game, very stylish. I just love the style.
Very sure.
It's hard to tell yet if I can highly recommend it on its combat alone. I think the combat is good, but I feel like I've barely scratched the surface of the difficulty and, what do the upgrades really do for you? Because right now you feel a little weak. Your dodge takes a while to reload, so you have to really plan out your dash or dodges. So yeah, it's a little bit interesting. All right, but enough of these dumb games. Paper Mario, 33 Immortals. No one cares.
Yeah, were you guys on like Cute Mew tonight or something?
No one cares. We're gonna talk about the game. It's only taken 5 years since it was announced for it to release. Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 has arrived. Hey guys, Xbox put out a game.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And much like the length time of this game, we're gonna finish this conversation in 5 minutes.
Yeah. Hey, it's 9 hours, is what I heard. Okay, 9 hours of walking straight and hitting.
I think that's just if you pause it a few times.
Sure.
If you pause it a few times to Google things like, what did she just say? Yeah. So yeah, are you both playing this? Kyle, I know you definitely are. Dan, are you playing this one too?
I am not. I've never even finished the first one, so I feel like at some point I would want to, because it's a sequel to that one, right? So
it's a direct sequel. It jumps right in with here's what happened in the first one.
The catch up, I was like, dang, a lot happened in the first game.
I forgot.
I forgot all that stuff happened. Yeah.
I was like, wait, who's Damien? Like, I forgot about that guy.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Who's that guy?
I remember going to hell.
Yeah. Did we go to hell? I remember stabbing.
It's in the title, but I don't really know.
Yeah.
No. Okay. Anyway, it's fine. I know her eyes were really big and she was freaking out. I know that, and that's fine.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of talking in this game, like the whole time. I'm not even sure if there's music because there's so much talking, and I mean while you're waiting for the game to load, while you're walking during cutscenes, there's just nonstop dialogue. And I had forgotten that about the first game, all the whispers and kind of like I got headphones in while I'm playing, so you kind of got that surround sound of voices. And
it does not sound great. I have a really nice surround sound system, as I like to bring up all the time, because I spent a lot of money on it, and I like to bring it up. It doesn't sound good on there, and I think that's by design. They like the game specifically says put on headphones, and they really mean that. It's just like it is tweaked to be headphones. So
this is gonna sound like a weird criticism. This is just a Tim problem, I think. But because Ninja Theory has pulled back the curtain so much on their behind the scenes stuff, which on the one hand, I will always say that's pretty cool. So for fans, they can sit, and I watched some of them. But it's hard for me now to enjoy this game without picturing, like when I hear all the voices, I'm picturing these voice actors kind of walking, like there's a mic in the middle of the room. I watched how they did it. There's a mic in the middle of the room, and they kind of walk around at different distances and angles and say their lines. And they're like, it looks like a really cringy, like drama class exercise. You know what I mean? Like and so it's hard for me to play this game and hear it and not picture that. There's something about it. And this is a Tim problem. Now I'm just picturing it behind the scenes.
Because I like that diary, and I like that a lot.
It's very cool, but
seeing how the sausage was made on that was super cool.
It was very cool. So anyway, guys, this game is gorgeous. What are your thoughts when you first fired it up, Kyle? What jumped out at you as you were playing it?
Oh God. I mean, the water looks really good. The trauma is just so palpable. The thing that I think I said immediately was like, boy, this game is like really oppressive. Like everything you're doing is like she's stumbling and, like she's, washing up on shore and just getting
gasping
pelted,
for breath.
Just getting pelted by waves and gasping for breath. And it's just everything you're doing is just like, it's like reverse Uncharted, like where everything Nathan touches it breaks, but it's like funny. You're like, oh, it's like an amusement park ride. Here you're like, this poor girl, like, like everything that's happening to her can happen to her, and it's just it's just really
blood all the time, all over her, just
constantly. She's constantly crawling through dead bodies. There's like a part really early on where you're like, I think I'm gonna crawl on the ship because I hear like voices down there, and like the ship gets submerged and you're under there, and it's just like it's oppressive. Like the whole experience is just like, all right, I'm gonna go.
And the voices are laughing at you, stupid girl. Like you believe those were real voices.
So it's just like it is just you're just watching somebody, I don't know, go through like the worst experience they've ever been through in their entire lives, and you're just like
some of the darkest moments of Tomb Raider, the new Tomb Raider games.
Yeah,
it's got elements of that where she's really in pain, but that game it's not oppressive the whole time, but it has those moments.
Yeah.
This is that from the jump. Like
I never feel powerful. Like the combat's really easy for the most part. But like you're swinging this, or there's so much weight behind it. Like there's just everything feels so purposeful and so weighty and so realistic, and again just the way that she like sways and stuff like that is just like it's just aces in the animation department. So I have mostly positive things to say. I don't think I have anything negative to say about
transitions from cutscene to like gameplay. Like beautiful.
I like these types of games. If you want me to walk straight and like get a really interesting story, like okay, like that stuff doesn't bother me, but like I can see that not being people's like cup of tea, and I can see that like I don't know if I want to do this for 9 hours, but I liked, Order 66 or 1986 or 1886.
Me too. 1886. Yeah.
Like this kind of reminds me of that. This similar amount of like walking, stop, heavy dialogue, constant chattering, and then like maybe you have a quick combat sequence that's over way too quick, and then you're on like doing kind of the cycle again. It feels very much like that game.
Dude, those kills though, like death stabs or whatever, the kill animations are crazy.
Well, and just like when you make contact with them, like you'll see like the cuts on them and stuff like that. Like they just do a really good job of like making the game feel real and immersive. But like it is like Last of Us levels of just like ugh.
Yeah.
Like people suck. And like what's happening to this poor girl sucks, like a lot of feelings of Last of Us in those regards, even though they're not similar at all, just and just that oppressive nature of just like feeling like, oh, these poor people they had put through a lot, Really excited to play more of this game. I hope the puzzles don't get any harder. Right now they're perspective puzzles, so it's like oh, you have to like make this sigil in the air with like lights, and by like moving where you are, like you align the lights into what sigil you're trying to make or whatever.
It's pretty straightforward, right? There's only like 3 paths to walk on, and one of them will have
right. I think Spider-Man did something like this, like in one of their games, where like you're moving things and forcing a perspective to like make a thing. So I can wrap my head around that.
When you want to like warp across a chasm, you have to get to the right position, and then it'll let you like do this ghost pull across. So yeah, it's very similar in that way.
So yeah, as long as they don't get harder than that, that's fine. But like if I like what I'm doing enough, like I'll look up answers to the puzzles if I'm too stumped. Yeah. But like I'm liking it so far. I don't know. I'm really distracted by other games which we'll get to later that aren't of this generation, year, or decade. But
sure.
But I am enjoying this, and and this is at no fault of its own, like, and very few games do this, but like I didn't get bit, you know what I mean? I'm not like my whole life is revolving around getting off of work and coming home and carving out time to play this game. It just didn't hit me like that. But like, I don't know if this is that type of game either. Like Last of Us isn't like that for me either, because at some point I'm like, all right, this is sad. I'm gonna go, walk outside for a little bit,
Sure.
So there might be airs of that. So that's no speaking to the quality of it not biting me. I just some games just aren't meant to be like, ran through.
Yeah, the whole opening is incredibly dark. Everything's gray or brown except for the blood, which is a nice bright red. It's a really cool contrast. And then as you move to the next section, everything does brighten up for a little bit, and it's very pretty. It kind of adds in these like tans and greens as it's daytime. But then you get into this village, and it's so disgusting, like body parts and blood everywhere. Sick. And just guts, and it's just like
sick.
What is happening? This is nasty. So but yeah, very striking visuals. It's like and we know this because of the mocap stuff and the technology they're using. We know it's groundbreaking stuff, and we know that's why I joked earlier, that's why it takes 5 years to make a game like this, because they are motion captioning every scene, every character, every enemy you're fighting, even the first kind of boss sort of that you fight at the beginning. He's talking to you during that fight, and I was looking pretty closely, and like his mouth is actually moving with the words as you're fighting, like in the gameplay moment.
Something that still some games can't pull off to this day.
They still can't do it sometimes. Yeah. So it just jumped out at me. The level of detail is really incredible. And like Kyle was saying, sometimes keeping me funneled towards a direction that the game wants me to experience is totally fine. I don't need to be able to poke around every corner and see what's in every little house and every village. Just make it clear what you want me to go and do. I don't need to like, oh, I found this secret doll. Collect 6 of these and you can upgrade your health. I don't need that in every game.
Yeah.
I don't really need that. So
that's why that conversation is so. Again, it harkens back to I think our last episode where we're just like everybody just is complaining about everything all the time, constantly. It's like nobody knows how to just have a like intelligent thought about these things. Like it's first off, it's just okay for this game to be shorter, anyways, right? It's just.
I think it's okay for any game to be short if that's the way the developer wants it.
And if they want to charge $60-$70, then that's what they want to charge. But if you think about it, like the visuals are stellar, like they're insane. The presentation is insane.
This game's only 50, by the way.
Well, then there you go.
Even better, yeah. So it is priced at a budget game, $20 off. Like that would have been at the rate of $60 when games were at $60. A game coming out at $40. Like you were buying a lesser experience if you want to.
Fully voice acted, fully like complete. It's great.
Also, with how you're saying how oppressive it is, like does anyone really want to be in this game for like 20-30? Like, do you really want that? Like,
yeah, I mean,
you know what I mean?
Like, that was kind of like about Last of Us, like 1 and 2. Like, they're not too long by any means, but if they were longer,
the second game is almost too long. It's not.
It is much longer.
Like a little bit.
Yeah, but I'm not in a negative way. That game is so perfect, but like,
so
it's just like if it were any longer, I'd be like, I get it. People suck. Like, I get it.
After there's like a bit of a time jump, and you do another whole new area mission, and that whole final confrontation, I was like, if they do one more of these, I don't think I can play anymore. Like and thankfully that was the end. That was the actual end. But yeah, so I'm with you. You're right.
I think gets in a boat and starts rowing after her. Just like, and I'm like, God damn it!
You got a whole other
another section of this game. Jesus.
Now you're in Hawaii.
Yeah, right. They rode all the way to Hawaii.
Rode to Hawaii. That's right. Yeah, no, I do find the you're right, it is oppressive, and not even just visually, because yes, visually it is, but the audio really does take a toll on you after a while. Like there's so much screaming and yelling and voices that are suffering or laughing at you or
telling you that you suck or that you made a bad decision or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, it is, and after a while, that does wear on you. And I appreciate what they're doing. I think as an art form, they are crushing it. But it's it's kind of like when you see incredible art, even if it's one of your favorite movies, you might be like, hey, I love that movie. It's one of the best things I've ever seen. Not sure that I want to watch it every night. It's a lot to handle. So
Yeah.
so it kind of it's in that vein for me. It's like super super high quality. I am gonna see it through, but like Kyle said, sometimes a 1.5 hour session with it is all I can handle over the course of 2-3 days, and so that's what I did. I had one session with it, played it for like an hour and a half, really enjoyed it, and I'll circle back to it. I just don't know when. But it's not super long. I think it'll only take me probably 4 or 5 gameplay sessions probably to finish it. So it's just a matter of carving out that time to do it. But it is very cool. It's really well made. I think for fans of the first game, it's exactly what you would want. It's a much better.
It's a better version of that.
Yeah. Controls better than that. Is the combat and all that stuff great? No, but it's the first game didn't have great combat either. It had serviceable combat that worked. You kind of understand.
And I think it feels more purposeful in this one too, where it's I don't know. She's not like a warrior, like she's just a survivor, so it's like, should she have like God of War moves, like should she have like a vast array? So it's like, it's serviceable. Does it make it fun? No, but it is good enough, like you said.
But I think that adds to the whole theme of it being like this oppressive thing, right? She's not like becoming the super, like you just said, like a Kratos level warrior.
In one of the dev stories, they said like, we want you to come out of every situation like you just barely survived. Right. Even if you like creamed a boss fight, like just the way that it plays out, usually it's just like, oh, you got a couple good hits in there. Whether they were scripted hits or whatever. Like they want you to feel like you're just getting by constantly, know?
Yeah.
Now they do add there's a supernatural element to the first game, of course, as well. And that's certainly here. And you get an item before you enter the supernatural experience that helps you fight a different type of enemy. So there's a human enemies that you're fighting, and that feels gritty, it feels violent, and it's just, whoa, they really went for it in this combat. And then there's kind of the supernatural version of it where it's still the same thing. You're still looking for the same patterns and hitting the same buttons, but now you have this new item that you kind of have attached to your belt that starts to glow when you can activate it. And so there is another layer to the combat depending on who you're fighting that they add in there, which is kind of cool. It's one of those things I couldn't even go back and tell you what happened in the first game, just like straightforward narrative wise. And I feel like the second game is going to be the same way, and that's actually okay. It's not really about telling a standard old school story. It's more about Senua. It's more about her struggle with her mental struggles and the way she's being used, but also like what she's fighting for. And I don't know. It's just, to me, it's more of an interesting character. The first game was this way too. It's more of an interesting character story than just a narrative that I'm used to seeing. Here's good guy. Here's bad guy. Go defeat bad guy. Just,
right.
Not every story has to be that. Anyway. So I'm really digging it, man. It's high quality. It's really good. Kyle, do you think that this is one that you'll like? Yeah, I'm gonna keep it installed. I'm gonna finish it.
Yeah, I'll see it through. I don't know if it's the win that Microsoft needs. I don't know what the win is at this point. Like Starfield wasn't the win. This isn't the win. It
doesn't feel like anything's a win.
Forza Motorsports, a complete revamp and reboot of the thing, not the win. So I don't, at this point, like I don't know what makes Microsoft win. We've talked about them at nauseum at this point, but like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Does it Fable? Like, how many more games can come out that actually do well Fable before it's, like, oh, we all like Microsoft again, So I don't know.
I think,
if you're a fan of the first one, I think that you'll love this one. I just don't know if you're gonna.
It's a decent feather in the cap. You're right. It's not like a tent pole. They can look at this and be like, okay, finally we got our system seller. But it's a feather in the cap type of a game. That they can point to. But yeah, I don't think it's a system seller type. Like honestly, to me, it's in the same vein as the stuff we talked about with Sony this year, with like your Rise of the Ronin and your Stellar Blade. It's somewhere in that realm more than it is in the realm of like a God of War where it's kind of like industry changing.
Yeah, I think when it originally was announced with all the deceptions that they were talking about, that it was probably primed to be something like that, but it is not even kind of that right now.
No, it's not. And the timing of it was bad. I looked back; it was announced in 2019. God of War had just released at the end of 2018. So when they announced this and talked about it, maybe this is my fault, but I immediately was like, this is going to be the Xbox God of War. This is going to be awesome.
I think that was just the vibe, of going around on the net, whether or not they said that outright is one thing. I think the only things they ever said was that their next project's going to be ambitious. And like, this is ambitious.
Bigger,
is not what
better,
this is.
Yeah.
Sure.
Agreed.
It's just better, but yeah, bigger is
better.
not.
And boy, is it the best looking game probably I've ever played. Probably. Yeah. And the fact that
just like Order 1886, like it is like that, where it's a technical showcase, on all that good stuff. So
man. The Order still looks amazing if you go back and play it right now.
That game is so cool. When you get that phosphorus gun,
people shit on that game.
I know they do. Yeah, that was
like
one I bought full price, and like people were like, I can't believe I paid full price for this game. I was very happy with what I played. Yeah. Sure, I mean, buying it for $20 would have been cool, but I bought it at launch and I loved it. So I don't,
I think it's really cool. Yeah.
By the way, if they do make a sequel, I know, Dan, you said this by accident as you're thinking of the title, but they should make the Order 1986 and make it real neon, like 1980s Stranger Things
stuff. So freaking cool.
That'd be awesome.
It would probably just be
Duran is playing in the background.
Yeah. Yes.
Hey, like a wolf, right?
Yeah, hungry like the wolf. Why do you think I said that?
Come on.
The layered joke.
There's a couple other games that came out this week that are at least worth mentioning quickly. Venture to the Vile looks cool, and I did want to try it, but I didn't give it a whirl. But that one, it's like a side-scrolling game where you have like this masquerade style animal mask on. It looks interesting. So Venture to the Vile. And then there is a sequel to Valiant Hearts called Valiant Hearts Coming Home. Now this was a mobile-only game that was on Netflix, I think. You know how Netflix did like their little game? I still think they have them.
They do, but yeah, it's like only on your PC, like because I pulled up Netflix
on your mobile.
Is it on mobile too? Okay,
I
have no idea.
Anyway.
When I'm working, I pull up Netflix and I see there's like a few games. So
yeah, there's a couple games you could download, and they just download like an app. I think you just activate it through your Netflix account. I think. Anyway, now this is available on PC. I really liked the first Valiant Hearts game. I thought it was very moving. It was a really cool game from Ubisoft. This one's getting mixed reviews. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because people are mad about it being on mobile first or if it's actually not good. But anyway, Valiant Hearts Coming Home is out. And Dan, I played a little bit of Little Known Galaxy. Did you try this one out?
Oh, did you? No, I haven't. Not yet.
So Little Known Galaxy, which actually we'll have a little Let's Play video up in the next week or two.
Oh, nice.
Dude, it is. When I say it is Stardew Valley in space, I am not kidding. Like it is less of a focus on farming for sure right out of the gate, but there still is an aspect of farming. You still get seed, you still can plant stuff, but because you're on a spaceship and you actually go down and explore this gray planet and you're trying to figure out what's going on with this relic. There's this overall storyline of discovering what's going on with this relic, but you go from floor to floor in your spaceship and you talk to people. There's all these named characters, and you can give them gifts. You can build a relationship with them. You unlock stores and improve homes, and you have to use this little ray gun to clear the debris from your main deck where you live, so that way you can build things and plant things. So I mean, you go back to your area and you improve it and you upgrade your home and you add furniture and then you put things in this little box that you can sell at the end of each night. You know what I mean? Like and you have a little energy bar.
So everything is happening like on a spaceship. They're not living on the planet.
You live on the spaceship. Yeah. And then instead of going into a cave, you go down to the planet for your little adventures. Right. So, dude, it is absolutely.
Don't fix it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, it's basically, what if Stardew Valley was in space? And I do like the art style. I think it looks a little different from Stardew, but same idea there, where it's kind of a 32-bit looking, experience. But I like it. It's really charming, super cute. That kind of like the music, everything about it is very like, okay, this is a nice little farm sim. So, Little Known Galaxy, it's worth a look. I think that has a demo as well.
Yeah.
To try.
I was curious if it was coming out on anything else, but it seems like it's just PC for now. So
just PC right now, yeah, and it just launched on PC.
Yeah.
There's this other game called RKGK Rakugaki. I'm not sure exactly how you say this. It looks a little bit Jet Set Radio, Hi-Fi Rush, Sunset Overdrive, maybe minus some of the combat. I'm not sure exactly how it plays.
That studio's closing down.
Yeah, it sure is. But anyway, this RKGK game looks cool. It's got, some mid to high 70s user average reviews. So yeah, it's decent. It's worth a look. I think the style of it's very cool. I remember when they announced it I think it was like 2 months ago, maybe I saw it announced and thought that looks neat. So I have it wish listed, but I have not tried it yet.
I'm seeing the hi-fi influence there for sure.
Yeah, very stylish, flashy visuals with the rock and roll. I think there's an element of some sort of skate-like or glide-like thing that's a little bit Jet Set Radio, Sunset Overdrive type traversal.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, yeah, the game looks pretty cool. And also Haunty with 2 eyes. Haunty. This is on Game Pass. This is the reason I played this game. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have given it a second look. But it does have cool art style. It's very kind of pencil, hand-drawn look, but very detailed in the animation. Everything's moving constantly. It has everything, that like little bounce animated style to it. It's an action adventure game where you're this little ghost who you can haunt certain things or I guess possess certain things, and whether it's for a puzzle to move a pillar around or whether it's to possess this diamond that has a bunch of things inside it, and you possess it and then shake it back and forth till it breaks and you can get all the things that were trapped inside it. And you can upgrade things. It's got a little bit of a roguelike vibe to it, I think. But it's very like lighthearted is how I would describe it. So it's a lighthearted game about trying to escape from this afterlife that you're stuck in. At the beginning, you have this little angel girl who's trying to help you escape. And as soon as you reach a certain height, it's like this really pretty moment where the two of you are like holding hands and like flying up to escape this underworld. And then this chain wraps around you and pulls you back down. And so you have to figure out how to escape the underworld and get strong enough to the chain. So that's
it's not like a ton of colors, but it's striking. The visuals are pretty striking.
Yeah.
I was watching a couple of streamers play it.
Yeah, if you go outside of the, there's these areas of the ground that are lit, that are clearly like, whether it's with a street light type of a thing, a spotlight that's shining on it, or there's items you can use to like lighten the ground. Almost like, think like Zelda when you're in the underworld and it's so dark you can't see and you might even die if you take a wrong step. But if you throw one of those little bulbs, and it'll kind of light up an area. So it has that vibe a little bit where you can kind of light up certain areas. And as soon as you go in the dark, you have maybe 7 seconds before you die, because everything will start slowing down and your vision will fade if you're in that dark area too much. You gotta stay in the light, folks. Stay in the light with Haunting.
Wicked dark down there.
It's wicked dark. So
dark.
Yeah. So there you go. There's a whole bunch of new stuff that's out. But that's not all that we're playing. I mean, we're playing some old stuff too. Like I talked about last week, playing a lot of Power Wash Simulator. That's a good time. I don't care who you are. That's really fun. And you guys have been playing some older stuff too. Why don't you tell me some of the stuff that's not new you've been playing? Consider this your quick hits for the gaming side of things.
Well, speaking of simulator stuff, I do poke into while I'm working, because I'm very productive apparently. I'm on my other job, which is Supermarket Simulator. My supermarket. I mean, yeah,
stocking them shelves.
Stocking, yeah. I have 2 registers, and I hired my second person. So now both of the registers are being taken care of while I stock the shelves.
Monster. That's awesome.
Even though I'm in charge here, I'm stocking my own shelf. I'll hire somebody eventually to do that. But yeah, it's just dumb. It's just dumb. You're running a little supermarket, But there is something to that loop.
Yeah. I played like 20 hours of Gas Station Simulator, which is very similar. You're stocking like shelves, you're doing all sorts of stuff, you're marking prices, and it's like 20 hours doing that. Like that's crazy. Like arcade, whatever
nice.
The arcade
Paradise.
One, same thing. Like where you're going around, you're like mopping and
plunging
toilets and stuff like that. Yeah. Like it's just I don't know what it is, but like if you get a good loop, like I'm in. Like I'm pretty susceptible to like good loops of games.
Upgrading, I think, right? It's seeing something as bare bones and then eventually it becoming like this thing. You're adding all this stuff and upgrading.
Right.
I'm pretty sure they make Black Mirror episodes about what we're describing right now, and we are the problem. Is what I'm saying.
Absolutely. And that episode, like we're controlling real autonomous people, like while we're playing the game. Like somewhere in like Asia, like people are like being controlled by us.
Yeah, like oh great, thanks for doing this. Like no problem.
Wow, you made slavery back. Oh, that's great. Thanks, gaming.
It's China's ultimate goal. But the only two things that I'm focusing on are, so I started Dave the Diver.
Yes.
Because I finished Stellar Blade. So real quick, nice. Dave the Diver is, speaking of loops, Dave the Diver has a pretty fun loop.
Excellent loop, yeah.
And it's so chill. The music in the background is just has this like just kind of chill vibe to it, and I
love the music in that game.
Just diving down there.
You get some heart pounding stuff too when you like dive a little too deep, and you're like, why is that shark right here? You know, like it's just there's some like there's
and
some,
there are
like,
legit boss fights. There's like five or six legit like.
I just did the first one.
Boss, yeah.
I like that you can get lost in the loop, or you can be like, okay, I'm going to progress the story now. You know, it doesn't really like slap your wrist for doing either. You can do it at your own pace.
Yep.
But I like the quirky charm of like just the world there and the characters, and going back to the sushi restaurant and which I think I just didn't even really know about that element. I guess I just forgot you guys mentioning that, but you're actually running your you're like running.
Yeah, filling up green tea and getting new
pick
recipes.
Out your best recipes that you have the ingredients for and will make you the most money.
Yeah. Yeah. And I like the animated sequences, like when you get like a new thing, like there's just like this really ridiculous animated sequence,
Yeah. Bancho when he takes out the knife and the lights are like shooting out of the restaurant, like anime style. Like
same with the fat guy who upgrades
for, like,
your
the
stuff.
Newspaper and stuff, you have to decorate everything.
Yeah.
Like there's just enough there where you're just like, I don't know, this is like my bar. Like we're killing it right now.
And the weapons guy who upgrades you also has very similar things where he'll look over at his anime girl that he likes and get inspired and make you something.
Yeah, I forgot all about that. Yeah, so it's typing away at his computer.
Yeah. So
it's a fun game.
Yeah, it is really fun, and I like the pixel art of it. I like that it's all pixelated and like it looks like it could be something that maybe existed back then, but like with modern day tendencies. So. But Stellar Blade. So I finished Stellar Blade. Speaking of, because we were mentioning that a second ago as kind of being like not like this like industry changing like thing, but this game is really good. Like this game is I really enjoyed it. I think the world is very interesting. I think everything we said before, the visuals are beautiful, just the world and everything, not just her suits, which by the way, they just did a free update and 2 free suits for Eve there, very scantily clad. So you're welcome, you fucking perverts. Okay, you're welcome. There you go. More suits for you.
Horniness wins the day.
Dude, was that the name of the patch? They should have named the patch that.
Version 2.0.1 fucking perverts.
Yeah,
basically.
Exactly.
Bump, go to horny jail.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think the combat is just this really fun hybrid of the kind of like deliberate Souls weightiness, but like the character action games, but like you can equip things that does make her animations, like the way she's like when she's swinging the sword, it actually can make them a little faster. Like there's something you can equip, which I forget how much percentage faster it makes her move. So like then it does kind of like make it a little bit more like, character actiony and not as weighty, like once you kind of get those upgrades and stuff like that. So but yeah, I thought the story was interesting. I thought the payoff at the end was actually cool, and they kind of throw a curveball in there. It's something they don't do for the entire game. I'm not trying to be specific because I know Kyle, you're still kind of working on it.
I gave up. I said last week I gave up on the game. But that's because of like I'm just not in the mood to play with like the traversal mechanics in this game. But I did praise the game a whole bunch last week. I just like, I know they just released a boss rush mode, and I'm like, that might be how I play this game. Like where I just get the fight syncs. That's what I care about with the game. But no, I'm interested in other things right now. So if you want to give like a tease, but it's not too spoilery for people who might be listening, you're not gonna yuck my yum. So
Okay, so there's not.
Skip ahead if you don't want to hear anything. Okay, go ahead.
There's not just one ending.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
So, which was interesting because they don't do anything like that throughout the whole story of being like, hey, like
you're not like choosing,
Yeah, exactly. But it feels very much like maybe like older, well, I guess not older games, I don't know what I'm saying, but like there's things that you want to do all of the side content in the game. It does encourage that because that's going to kind of lend to like what happens at the end there.
That's cool.
There's some cool world building in the side content too. So,
yeah.
There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff that like I really liked about that game for sure.
Yeah, because you're so you have the two, Eve and then Adam and Eve, and then you meet Lily eventually, and she's just kind of really endearing because she's kind of like the like really like bubbly anime character of like yeah, and she talks all like like super enthusiastic, but she's very I like her character because she's like very like protective of Eve and like kind of like making sure she's okay, and like when she's the one that's driving the little buddy there that's flying alongside you, droid or whatever, she's just very like, oh shit, like be careful, Eve. So I just think she's like really cute and endearing. Yeah, there's basically an element of like that and like doing certain quests and stuff like that kind of like pay off towards like as you're getting to the end. So that I enjoy. But yeah, I thought that curveball was interesting because the moment happened and I was like, oh shit, I wasn't expecting this. So I did look up, like I was just like, I just gotta know what actually is the thing I should be doing. And the best, so basically the actual like best ending or whatever you want to call it. I had done the stuff because I didn't realize this one mission that happens either does or doesn't happen like 3/4 of the way through the game. So I did everything I needed to do. So I was like, oh, cool. I can actually do.
So it's
like
mission dependent, and whether or not you do certain things will depend.
Yeah,
will determine your.
There's apparently like a meter that's building up, and I don't know if it's there or not. I didn't go back to check, but apparently
like
I filled
a Paragon type of a thing going on.
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah,
and apparently I did it. So I was like, whew, okay, cool.
Way to go.
Yeah.
But which was a fun payoff because and the last couple boss fights are like really tough. Like I think I was actually pretty good at the game, and then those last two boss fights humbled me for sure. It took me quite.
Hey, you finished Returnal and Sekiro. You're our resident pro gamer. So
yeah,
that's right. But yeah, I think the game is definitely beyond the dumb nonsense internet nonsense of the outfits. I think it's actually a legitimately great game. I think people should give it a chance, whether you like Souls like or character action type stuff. An interesting post-apocalyptic sci-fi future worlds or whatever you even want to call this game. Like I think it's worth a try. The platforming for sure not fantastic. So I don't blame Kyle being like, oh, this platforming's gross.
Yeah, and usually I have a little more patience because I'm like, if I like an element a lot in a game, I'm like, I'll just like tough through this like bull, but whatever. Yeah. I'm in a really impatient mood these days, I guess.
No, that's fine.
I think that's why I stopped playing Doom Eternal. Was I was getting a little tired of like the environmental platforming stuff.
Hated it. I know, Gaston, I'm so sorry. I know you love this game.
I know, sorry,
but like and you know what? You're right. I just want you to know you're right and I'm wrong. What I'm about to say. But like I could not get into that game because of all that platforming stuff. I was just like, I just want to shoot stuff and execute people. Like I don't.
Like, did they think that's what made the first game good was jumping? Because that's not what made it good.
Right. And like I like a good grappling hook. Like all the mechanics are good. All the locomotions are great. That game is so good. I just don't have the patience for like platforming, I guess.
Yeah. That makes sense. And I mean, thankfully there's not a ton of that in this game, but there are moments of it.
Yeah, there's some moments for sure.
Now, Dan, you mentioned Dave the Diver, and that reminds me of the only thing of note that I've watched this week is we watched 2014's Godzilla, because that DLC for Dave the Diver should be out soon.
It's out.
The Godzilla, is it out now?
Yeah, I downloaded it.
Okay, I gotta try that. From what I can tell, of course, because Godzilla is ultimately the Earth's hero, and we all know this. I'm pretty sure you team up with Godzilla underwater in some way, shape, or form. I'm pretty sure. Like I'm sure he's an enemy at first, but I'm pretty sure you team up with him. But anyway, watched Gareth Edwards' 2014 Godzilla. Guys, movie's great. holds up great.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
it's a movie. Yeah.
Aaron Taylor Johnson's a little bit of a dud as a lead, but
he sucks. Yeah.
Otherwise, the movie's great. It's great payoff, great build up. The Muto monsters are so well designed.
It makes me so mad, like looking at him in that movie, and then like watching like Bullet Train, being like, "So you had charisma all along? You just never used it?
Hey,
like, what's
direction's important. Direction's important.
Gareth Edwards is a great director, though. So like, you couldn't yank anything out of this kid. But,
even Ken Watanabe did a lot of his like staring and barely talking, looking confused or worried for most of Godzilla.
I think like the human stuff in Godzilla is always just weird, and I think that like we're always just kind of waiting for the big leg to come and stomp on something. So
who delivered was Bryan Cranston, start to finish.
Yeah, that's why they killed him off so quick. They're like, he can't steal this movie. He's Godzilla's got to be the star of this movie. We got to kill this guy off. Yeah. He was like at the peak of Breaking Bad too. Like
I don't know, the scene with Watanabe though, he's like, let them fight. Like that's just like that's just a good scene. That's just a good scene.
Yeah,
that's a good scene.
Anyway, so that was fun watching that with them. Kyle, what about you? What else are you playing? Because it's nothing new, right? Other than Hellblade.
No, not at all. No. I was playing Skyrim all day today. I built a house.
Yes.
Speaking of loops, like there's this hidden chest that you can get from like a Khajiit caravan in Dawnstar. Every 2 days, you just go there. You get everything out of the chest. You go sell everything. You go back, and it's like a glitch. But like, I've beaten this game so many times.
Is it randomized loot?
No, kinda. Like it's you're guaranteed certain things, and then there might be variations of.
You're
gonna
make money every time.
Listen,
you're
gonna make so much money. Charm. It's part of the Bethesda charm.
It is. And they know this is like one of the most known like glitches, and Todd Howard's like, keep it in. These kids are having a good time. Yeah. So I built the house pretty quick. I got through the Thieves Guild and got the Nightingale armor, which is the best light armor in the game. I've done a lot of like Daedric like quests. Like I've just been like chipping away at that game, just enjoying that game's vibe. I love that game so much, and it's such a vortex, that game. I've also started up Dragon Age Inquisition because Dan just brought it up randomly, and I'm just like, I'm gonna start that. I got like an hour and a half into it, and I'm like, I cannot let this game take over my life.
What are you playing it on now?
PlayStation 4. It just doesn't play well on the deck, and Steam doesn't allow controller support without like being weird. So it's like I'll play it where I'm used to it.
Yeah.
But that is gonna be the save I like start up once like we get word that this new one's gonna come out. I'm like, oh okay, I'll play through the old one again. So it's loaded, it's ready. I'm ready to just jump right in and bang everybody. It's gonna be awesome.
Tim, you know what this means. You know what this means, Tim.
What does it mean? What does it mean, Dan?
We need to have a Dragon Age Inquisition spoiler cast.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Are you saying that
everyone has 120 hours?
I actually have to play this game now.
Yeah. No, you have to beat Mass Effect 3. You don't have to play this game.
I have not finished Mass Effect 3. That is true.
Oh, really?
Go back and play that, because this is just This is the Mass Effectcation of the Dragon Age series. Everything about it feels like Mass Effect. Like they just went like, how do we get Dragon Age to work after like Dragon Age 2 was kind of like I don't know. Sure. People like the game, people don't like the game, it's whatever. But they're like, what do we do? Like we just make it Mass Effect but like fantasy, and like it is that's exactly what it is. So if you are ever feeling like it, and after you beat Mass Effect 3, Tim, that's a must. Then you can go, you know what? I think I want something else like that, and then you can play Bang Fantasy Character Simulator.
You ever do a postmortem on why you dropped off a game that you're loving? Because I've done that with Mass Effect 3.
Dude, it happens all the time. My next game, Mad Max. I've been playing Mad Max because I watched a movie this week that was about that. And like that was one where, and I said it in chat, I'm like, I pick up this game all the time, and I've never beaten it. I'll just fall off constantly. Something else will come out. I just get distracted. I don't know what it is. Mad Max is such a fantastic video game.
Awesome
like I don't understand why I don't have the ability to just stick with it.
It's an open world game. It takes. It
does. There's some chipping away for sure, and it is a mechanics heavy game. So there's a lot of like, how do I harpoon again? Like there's a lot of like, I don't know what I'm doing in this game.
When you upgrade your car enough, though, it feels so good.
I gotta tell you, dude. You know what felt really good was getting my jacket, like the jacket.
The jacket.
And it says it. I was like, I'm in. I'm so in. I'm not in my dumb T-shirt anymore. I have the jacket on. It's got the pauldron on one shoulder. You know, like it just. I don't know. It breathes in so much like life into that game, and it's got my favorite combat system, that Arkham style Shadows of War style, Sleeping Dog style, reactive combat system that I just
good
love.
vehicle combat.
And then it has the audacity to have the best vehicle combat since Twisted Metal. Like, what is this game doing? And without spoiling too much, it is a prequel to Fury Road, this game. They talk about Scrotus, who is one of the sons of Immortan Joe.
Scrotus.
There are some things in Furiosa. I won't spoil anything. Just look out for some stuff. There might be some Easter eggs.
Scrotus is involved in there too. I know that.
He is, he is. But there are other things that you're like, oh my god, that's the thing, from the video game, which is really weird because he just George Miller just trashed the video game last week during interviews. He's like, it was such a dumb game. I'm paraphrasing.
It was not a dumb game, George.
Yeah, he's like, it was a total miss, and I was like, why did you pay so many homages to it? Maybe there's a comic.
It was a miss commercially, but I think people who actually gave it time are like, this is really fun.
Some people gave it 6s and 7s, and maybe the 7s are warranted, but there is a sect of media people and regular people who are just like, guys, this game is awesome, and everyone slept on it.
What happened?
It's Sleeping Dogs all over again, where it's like, this game's great, right? Everyone's like, huh? It's so good. I love driving around in the wasteland. I love I just love it, pairing stuff with stuff, So it's like, I just got done watching a super hype movie. It feels super nice to jump into something that's of that IP. Much like, Shogun's got me pretty hyped for, I would say Res the Ronin, but I dropped off that pretty quick. Assassin's Creed Shadows. Hopefully that hype is still there. These are good pairings. I just like a good pairing or whatever. So I really wanted a Matrix game after Matrix 4 came out. I'm like, ugh, why can't I play Path of Neo?
Wine and cheese, because we are very. That's how we operate, the three of us. Wine and cheese kind of.
Absolutely. Just like we all like Mark Wahlberg's Max Payne, so we watched that movie. Sure. And then we play the Max Payne video game.
Yes,
absolutely.
And we all do this, guys. All of us.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's one of the worst.
Or how we all will watch M. Night Shyamalan's Avatar: The Airbender, right?
Yeah.
And then, no, I'm just kidding. We won't.
And then play Platinum's Avatar: The Airbender game from PS2.
Dude, there was was it Avatar? Or maybe it was Korra. I think it was a Korra game where you could get 1,000 game. Whatever the Xbox.
I'm pretty sure Platinum made that game. I could be wrong.
It was.
I think that was when Platinum had a Team B.
I mean, it's a pretty mediocre game, but I just followed a guide I found online, and it took me 45 minutes, and then boom, 1,000 of the points.
The same thing. Platinum made a TMNT game. Remember that? It was like a 4-player co-op game. It sucked. It was so bad. They made a Transformer game that sucked. It's just there was a Team B Platinum that would just besmirch the whole name of that company.
Absolutely.
Actually, no. Are you talking about was it Transformers Cybertron or whatever?
I don't know. I think that one's the good one. I don't know if that's the Platinum one. I may have my wires crossed a little bit. Maybe there's another Platinum.
Because that one's actually pretty decent. It's repetitive, but it's decent.
Decent's good.
Yeah. Decent's good.
All right, so let's go ahead and transition into this new movie of which you speak. I also watched Fury Road this week with my oldest son. He had never seen it before. And boy, Mad Max Fury Road is just such a good time. That movie's 9 years old now. Okay, it came out a while ago, which is crazy. But of course, Tom Hardy as Mad Max was fantastic. And he does one of his classic Tom Hardy understated performances where it's compelling, but he doesn't chew up the scenery. He lets a lot of the other characters and the scenery breathe.
He also has a lot of natural isms that Mel Gibson had in terms of his talking and dialogue and stuff like that. There are some parallels there that this is the same Max,
Yeah, he's so good. But of course we know, I know it makes people mad, but whatever. It really is a Furiosa movie. It introduces her and she really shines in Fury Road. Mad Max is awesome too, but she at least shares the spotlight in that one. So
I would argue that it's really her and Nix's movie because they're the ones that have character growth, whereas Max is I'm just here.
Nicholas Hoult is so good in that movie.
Everybody, yeah, they actually have real character growth and journeys, if you will.
Nux.
It's Nux and Furiosa.
So he Nicholas Hoult is fantastic. It's easy to overlook that kind of role. He's just one of the crazy war boys who spray paints his mouth silver. But no, he's great in that movie.
He's so good. Yeah,
he's really fantastic. Yeah, witness me, Bloodberg. It's really, really good. But Furiosa is out. I was planning on seeing it today. Didn't get a chance to. Really am hoping to. I know Jeff saw it, and here's the Jeff review, you guys. I don't know which movie I liked more so far this year, Dune 2 or this one. So that's high. That's high praise.
That's high praise. Sand fighting sand.
I know. I told him I was like,
sands.
I was like, why are you such a mark for sand movies? But anyway, Kyle, you did get to see this, and I'm curious. on and you're very good about spoilers, so I'm not worried about that. On your spoiler-free thoughts on Furiosa, this new movie.
I won't even go into specifics of action sequences or anything like that. Like, oh, there's this one. I'm not going to do that because I think like the build up to, and maybe this is my point, the build up to the action scenes, and when the action scenes start happening, because this is not Fury Road. This is not like a 1.5 hour long car chase sequence with like a couple moments where people are like, oh, can you believe that just happened? Like, this is like a purposeful journey, a movie about something that's beyond just the action. It is something that builds to moments of action, and when the action happens, you're like, here we go, and it's so earned. Nice. It's so awesome, but it's not the same movie as Fury Road. And in fact, if you go back and watch all Mad Max movies, which I did this week, every single one of those movies are completely different. One's not like two is not like three isn't like two isn't like, four isn't like one. They're all action movies that take place in the wasteland, but like they're completely different in terms of their pacing, in terms of like what themes they're trying to lean into.
Hey, the game's different too, George Miller, and the game's good. So
yeah, it's just they're all telling different stories with different I don't know, agendas, and I don't mean that in the bad sense. Just like there's a different journey per movie. And I think it's excellent, man. Like there is a reason why like Hideo Kojima and who's the guy who did Shaun of the Dead? That director, whatever that guy. All these people are talking like high, like just I think I just saw one of the best movies I've ever seen. Yeah, it's that good. Like the movie is just that good. Who knows?
I almost said Simon Pegg, but he's the actor.
No, I can't believe I can't remember it. But everyone at home is like, it's this. Anyways, it's a fantastic movie, and it's so
Edgar Wright.
Edgar Wright, thank you.
I knew that name too.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, I'm just bad with names. It's just a fantastic movie, and it's just a really sharp looking movie. A lot of really good camera work. There are things about it that look more fake than Fury Road. And Fury Road remember, it's a movie about the stunts and the action. So like the purpose of doing all that for real was first and foremost. Whereas like that's not the case here, but it doesn't diminish anything in my opinion. It's just a different style, and like it is going to be visually noticeable. And there's just some really awesome stuff in it, character wise. And the movie is more about like you get a much bigger idea of how the wasteland works, who are the playing factors, the relationship of everything, the amount of world building in this game, because it is a long movie. It's like 2.5 hours long. There's a lot more world building and time to breathe to like tell those stories and pick up on little things that no other movie in this franchise has done yet. So that was really cool. I really enjoyed that.
And the danger with the prequel is when like we know Furiosa is alive and missing an arm. But
the world's not too well.
But we know that she and Immortan Joe and a bunch of other characters that are in Furiosa, we know that they're in Fury Road. So that is a risk, I think, for prequels. But I haven't heard anyone talk about like the lack of stakes makes it worse.
I couldn't get into spoilers because like just the fact that like it subverts your expectations of like who is the best. There's no bad guys and good guys. Like everyone sucks, like everyone's a bad guy in this, and it's like just about. And Furiosa,
even Mad Max isn't a good guy all the time.
Yeah, no, Furiosa's not really a good person either. Like it's there's shades of everyone losing their humanity in this world, and that's always kind of been the themes of Mad Max. So it's like playing around in that realm where you're like switching like who might be considered the antagonists and the protagonists and the helpers of the protagonists, stuff like that. Like that is a cool thing that this movie does. And it also introduces some characters where you're like, oh, I immediately like this person. So like there's stakes there because you're like, well, I didn't see this person in the next movie. So like he's on the chopping block or she's on the chopping block or they're on the chopping block, So like there are some stakes there that like don't get in the way of like you going like, well, Furiosa is going to make it. Like there's never a moment where you're like, is she going to get out of this pickle? Like the movie never even does that, So, so that's good. But like, I would say the star of the show is 1000% Chris Hemsworth. He won't because the Academy doesn't work this way. If he doesn't get nominated for this, like it's insane to me because he is chewing scenery.
I've heard people compare it to the Jack Sparrow turn for Johnny Depp.
That's actually a really good comparison. Yeah, very flamboyant and big. in the same way that
but it's
Jack
like a new side
is.
of him. Like with Jack Sparrow with Johnny Depp, it was like, what is this? We haven't seen
Yeah.
this before.
Well,
and I've heard
he's
this.
he's in dentures and a prosthetic nose. Like there's moments where I remember seeing the first trailer, I was like, man, what was that all about? I didn't even know that was Chris Hemsworth. You know, obviously once you see it, you can't unsee it type of thing. Like, oh yeah, it's right there in his eyes or whatever. But like, it's really, really, really good. And like watching his character and like his backstory, he's just a fantastic bad guy. Like he like you want Furiosa to kill him so bad. Like it's just it's so like you just want her to get her revenge. Dementis, who's also in the video game. He's mentioned in the video game multiple times.
Okay.
So nice. Yes, so again, how that game came out like 6 years. Like
how
there must have been a comic book or something that like maybe
someone's keeping track of the
that
canon somewhere.
Someone
right?
is, someone is the lore keeper of Mad Max, and that is pretty interesting to me as well. So yeah, Dementis is super awesome. They introduce a lot of really cool characters that you care about pretty quickly, I would say. And I don't know, it's just a ride, man. I thought it was just excellent. You know,
Anna Taylor-Joy carries it pretty well.
She says like 30 lines the entire movie. Is a very physical performance for her. You know, and
it's fair to say that Charlize Theron had a similar performance though in Fury Road, right? Very
very much so. She speaks
when
more
she spoke, it like hits.
She speaks more than Max did. Like Max only had 60 lines of dialogue in Fury Road. So like imagine how much Max talks in that movie. Half it. That's how much Anya talks in this one. And remember, it's a full story of her life. So there's a good portion of the movie where she's a kid and a completely different actress is playing her.
Yeah.
And I will say that I think, and don't quote me on this, I know people at home, if they're like diehard like scene checkers or whatever, maybe they know, but I think like I can't tell when they swapped out like the kid actor with Anya Taylor-Joy, and like I don't know how that makes sense. Like my brain's in a pickle about it. You know, I can't wait to watch it again to see when that happened.
You were just so happy the sound worked in your theater.
That's true.
Is it known that is that in the trailers? Like, can I look up an image of that like scene or?
Of the girl? Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I don't of the transition or whatever. I'm not sure. You can definitely look up a picture of the young girl, but like I don't know when they swapped them out. Like, and then that's like a compliment. Like, I just how did they pull that off? How do you pull off swapping like a person who's like a foot less? You know what I mean?
That's what I mean.
So many movies
I don't know if it was
shows...
like mid-sequence or something, but they did a really good job where I just go, oh, Anya's in the movie now.
Yeah, so many movies and shows will cast the kid version of a character, and you're kind of like, I guess I could see how they might turn into that person. Okay, whatever. And you just kind of move like whatever, it's fine. But when they cast it like that, where you almost can't even tell when now it's the grown-up version, that's awesome. I love
they did a really good job with that casting for sure. Man, this movie's fantastic. Like I was totally blown away by it. But yeah, I just encourage people to remember, like, go in not thinking this is Fury Road 2, because like you're like 2.5 hours, man, that's like 45 more minutes of action. No, it's not. You know, it's not that's not what that means at all. But
Fury Road was like a non-stop action flick.
There's nothing like that movie. You know what I mean?
Unreal.
So like showing up and expecting him to do that again is just it's kind of crazy to begin with, you know, because nothing on earth is like that movie. It is the only thing like that.
There's one lengthy lull towards the end before the finale, which is of course an insane set piece. It's a bunch of set pieces all strung together, but there's one lull there where they're kind of talking and it's darker, so there's like very little color in that scene.
It's a blue saturated.
It slows down your brain as well as you're watching it because the colors are all drained out. So it does. It's just brilliant, man. The
movie does a really good job of like forcing you to calm down right before it ramps back up again.
And there's so many striking images in that, and I'm sure Furiosa is the same way, where you
there's so many like it's like it's a wallpaper, and like it 2.5 hours long, it doesn't feel long, even though the pacing's a little slower. So it's like you're like I could have spent another hour in the wasteland. Like, hey, I'll hang out here with these weirdos a little longer. So.
That is something that a lot of times my kids will point out. We're watching a movie. They did it with Godzilla, and then also we were watching Fury Road. And my kids will just point out like, "Ooh, that's a poster." Like they're starting to appreciate like a good cinematography type shot where they're like the part where Furiosa goes out to the sand and falls on her knees and screams, and it's just this really amazing angle, and then it cuts to a different angle.
There's a lot of people in cinematography and film that's one of their favorite shots in all of cinema.
Beautiful.
Eric Voss on New Rockstars. He's my favorite, like, breaker downer of movies. Like, that's like one of his favorite. Like, he went to film school. Furiosa Screaming and Fury Road. Yeah, it's just like he like his whole life is breaking down scenes. So like that's saying a lot that he's like that one stands out. You know,
it does stand out, man. It'll get you. Well, I'm excited to see this movie when I get a chance to. I'm really looking forward to it. Suffice to say, it's got Kyle and Jeff's stamps of approval, which is awesome. That's great. Love it. All right, guys, let's talk a couple of headlines here. Unless there's anything else you've been playing or watching you want to highlight, since we did most of our quick hits already. Was there something else, Dan, that I skipped past for you?
Can't think of.
Okay. All right, cool. By the way, I do have Mad Max downloaded, the game. I am planning on doing maybe just a diddle to kind of remind myself, because I did finish that game. I loved it, but I just want to feel the car combat again. You know, I just want a little taste.
It's not like harpooning a guy right out of the driver's seat. That just like, here we go, man. We're in the wasteland, baby.
Just want a little taste. A couple of headlines. Number one, I don't know if you guys knew this, but one of the original console rivalries, console wars, was Atari versus Intellivision back in the day. And Atari just Vince McMahoned them and acquired the Intellivision brand, like how Vince McMahon acquired WCW. Atari has acquired Intellivision. Now, I didn't know that Intellivision was still doing anything. I didn't know about their Amico product. I don't even know what it is. I'd have to Google it to even figure out what is this. But apparently Amico is going to be spun off as its own separate rebranded company. Atari is more about all the other Intellivision IPs. So anyway, they've acquired them now. Don't know exactly what that means, but it's just kind of a notable thing with the console wars. It'd be like down the road Microsoft acquiring Sony. Which, sorry, ponies, that's way more likely to happen than Sony ever acquiring Microsoft or Xbox.
The past fusing together, Tim, and joining us in the future.
That's what it is. Which, by the way, I don't want that to happen. I don't think those are good for competition or for the customer.
I think clearly Microsoft needs to stop buying things, because then, people start losing jobs. So
I feel like we're at a spot now where it's like, could all the acquisitions just calm down? Like, let's only have acquisitions when companies are in trouble and they need to be acquired or they're going to collapse, and we want to keep their creativity rolling. Okay, cool. Acquire then. But generally speaking, it's enough. I'm good. Let's back it
enough
down.
of the monopolies.
Yeah, for real. Well, speaking of acquisitions, Call of Duty Black Ops 6 has been confirmed as the next Call of Duty game. I got to be honest. I didn't know there were 5. I thought there were only 3. I forgot
that there was 5. Yeah.
I didn't even
I remember the 4 because it wasn't Roman numeral 4. It was literally 4 slashes, remember? Because they didn't do Roman numeral 4.
Oh, yeah. That does
Which was so dumb.
Yeah.
But I forgot there was 5 completely.
Black Ops 6. Honestly, I still don't. Oh, by the way, so it's going to be showcased on June 9th. So there you go. That's part of the Game Fest weekend alongside Microsoft. Which we all kind of knew, because Microsoft said we'll have an Xbox game showcase, and they kind of left it as a quote unquote tease, but everyone could see that it was the symbol of the devs of the next Call of Duty game. Right. Whatever. But yeah, part of me wonders why they haven't just started calling it by the year, like Call of Duty 2024. Like
NBA 2K,
like NBA or Madden. Like, I don't know. It feels a little bit strange that.
I think that would sound not good. They probably just don't want to do that. They would just sound silly. Call of Duty 2024. Like,
I know, but that's what it is, though. I don't know.
Honestly, start doing new, Call of Duty something else. Just move away because they just keep cycling. Like, they literally rebooted Modern Warfare. Like,
I know, and they did all 3 of them. Which in my head, I had a moment where I was like, wait, they did all 3 already? Yeah, they did all 3 of those already. Yeah. And for some reason, I thought they only done 2. But right. The third one was pretty much DLC for 2. But it's been a while. They haven't done World War II one in a while, which is where that's their roots, right? Was the World War II. I think the last time they revisited it, was with World at War. They might have done one since then. But
there was the World War I one that they did, right? Like 4 years.
They did?
Yeah. There was a World War I one, wasn't there?
I thought that was Battlefield.
Hold on.
I am so unplugged from Call of Duty World. I am not remembering this at all. I did love World at War, though. It was fun, both multiplayer and the single player. I really enjoyed World at War quite a bit. That was the last time I really got into a World War II shooter was Call of Duty World at War, so I loved that.
Cool.
I thought that was the last historical one they did. I thought Black Ops kind of took over as their Vietnam era one.
Vanguard. Remember Vanguard?
Was that a World War One?
Yeah, it's the one that everyone was like, "Why are all these like chick operators in a World War II game?" And I was just like,
gosh, "I don't remember this at all."
This is a time it might be worth you bringing up.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep. And then
all those I know that there were some like soldiers that were female in some of those things, but it did like kick up a hornet's nest that people were like, "What the?" And I don't remember the story being really good, or anyone ever talking about how like that game being good. So
yeah.
And then 2017 had a World War II one.
Yeah, Battlefield and Call of Duty were both doing
what was the 2017
like, interchangeable like World War I and World War II games.
It was just called World War II?
It was just World War II, yeah. So it's just World War II. Call of Duty World War II.
Yeah, no, Black Ops 6 being confirmed as the next one. It's just funny that the numbers are getting that high. And I don't know. It's obviously, as we're talking about this, the fact that I totally forgot Vanguard existed. I didn't know they made a World War II one. I'm so unplugged from the world of Call of Duty. I just don't care. I really did like the Modern Warfare 1 reboot. That's the last time I played a campaign of theirs. I enjoyed it a lot.
Very good campaign.
Yeah. And last time I really got into multiplayer, it might have been Black Ops like 3 or 4, maybe. I don't remember last time I got
Modern Warfare multiplayer. I actually was like kind of playing that like way more than I anticipated. Like I was doing that quite a bit.
Yeah, I get into a rhythm with it, especially like I've always loved the hardcore mode where it's like one shot actually kills you. Something about the bullet sponges I don't really like, but I do like the hardcore modes a little more. So I can get into a rhythm with some of that stuff. But generally speaking, it's like what Kyle says, where it's like, do I want to be angry or do I want to have fun while I play a game? Sure. Let's not do.
Yeah, I'll convince myself. I'm like, I really like my friends back home. I want to play this game, and I'm like, my friends suck, and this game sucks.
Convince myself.
And I'm gonna get new friends.
Right here, Kyle. Right here.
Yeah. Well, thank you all for not playing Call of Duty. Let's play Helldivers.
Kyle, let's play some Helldivers too.
Yeah, please and thank you.
Hey,
my whole group moved away from
that. Let's aggressively spread democracy together.
I got everybody into Fallout 76 right as I was getting over it, and now everyone's like, "Do you want to play this?" I go, "No, I've played it already. I don't want to play that game anymore." You got me into this though. I'm like, yeah, have fun.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, the bad news for me is that now that Ashlands is out for Valheim, like I just updated it. It's sitting there like that's the next one I know I'm gonna fire up.
Yeah.
And it's like, sorry, everything until the Elden Ring DLC comes out. Then it'll be that. I'll be like, sorry.
It's the season of old games becoming new again. Yeah.
Yep. That doesn't mean I won't enjoy the Game Fest stuff though. I'm really looking forward to seeing what's next. But anyway.
Yeah, same.
Did you because I don't see that you put it in it. Did you hear what is rumored to be part of the campaign though for Black Ops 6?
No.
9/11. 9/11, guys.
Really?
Explore 9/11.
Oh yeah.
Is it like play as the terrorists?
I don't know, but I just saw people mentioning it. And I was like, oh boy, I don't know if we're there yet, but
yeah, it's just, you know what? Good for them for trying to be the litmus test on this one, because I know they were trying to make that Fallujah game forever, and people are like, I'm not.
Yeah.
Like distributors are like, I'm not touching that.
And that's crazy because that's way less, in my opinion, angering than an actual 9/11 game.
Yeah, I would say specifically when can be compared to 9/11.
Think about
Fallujah was a clusterfuck, but like 9/11 is like, it's so much more ripe to be like done incorrectly or be in poor taste
or do what they did with the classic airport scene where they put you in the shoes of one of the attackers and make you like hijack a plane. And
there's a scene that scene exists in the new Call of Duty where like you play as a bomber on a plane and like it's intense. It's super intense.
Dang.
Fuck that game though. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. Kyle doesn't like it. Everybody. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh god.
So that was a rumor, but it just got confirmed. So that actually is for real the next Call of Duty. So, but there are a few other rumors. Some of these are exciting. Some of these I think are no-brainers. One is less exciting is Valve's new game, which at first I thought, cool, Valve's new game, but it's a 6v6 third-person shooter, so I'm already out. But it's called Deadlock. I guess it's in like alpha testing or something right now. So whatever. That's as soon as I saw 6v6, I was out. That's fine.
Same.
I'm out.
But of course, Valve makes a lot of money off those things.
I did see one person, and I'll just put a positive spin on it because I feel the same way as you, Tim. Someone goes, "This could be the next Team Fortress." So I'm like, okay, maybe, yeah, sure.
That'd be cool.
Yeah,
Team Fortress was fun. I did play that a little bit. That was fun.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
I also did have a really good time for a brief period of time there with Counter-Strike back in the day. Really had a good time.
Love Counter-Strike.
I just, at some point I either stopped playing for long enough where I'm not as good anymore and I don't have success, so I'm not having as much fun. Or I'm just like, yeah, I've gotten my fill. Like that was plenty of time.
Counter-Strike when I was a kid, and that's all you had was time to play. But like, I couldn't pick up that game now. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, that is an irreversible game to me.
Like I have fond memories of older games like Rainbow Six on the N64. I remember playing Rainbow Six and planning out your missions and like giving instructions.
The original, to your team and, first couple games are awesome.
Yeah, you like actually plan out
Rogue Spear,
and it's super cool. But I don't want to do that again. Like that's old and not as fun. Anyway, a couple other rumors. This one won't surprise you, I don't think. There's a new Doom game that's set to be revealed. It sounds like probably at the Microsoft event, if I had to guess. But I saw the name of it, but now I'm forgetting. It's Doom something. That's the rumor. But,
this is something fantasy leaning, right?
Yeah, I can't remember what the rumored title is, but I wouldn't be surprised if this is something that's part of the Xbox showcase. They might put out a trailer beforehand and just let people know about like a little teaser and then say learn more on June whatever. It's possible since it's already leaked. I could see them doing that. But
Doom the Dark Ages to be revealed. Is
that what it's called? The Dark Ages?
Apparently.
Okay. But yeah, Doom is great, dude. 2016 Doom was awesome. Caught me off guard with how much I really enjoyed that game.
Dude, the soundtrack, oh my god.
Yeah, the soundtrack's amazing. The style, the gameplay. That's the kind of game that I rarely finish. I usually play a good chunk of those games and then I'm like, that's good enough. I get it. But I couldn't stop. That game was so fun. And I remember finishing that and feeling really good about myself. Like, because it's not an easy game either, but it's really fun. So yeah, new Doom game probably during the Xbox showcase. And last but not least, a new Astrobot game is set to be revealed soon. So there you go. That could be what Sony's up to. I'm all for that. Like I loved the PSVR Astrobot game. It was one of my favorite things on the PSVR. That and Moss, like it showed, those two games showed me that hey, you can have a really fun action adventure platforming experience in VR, and I really did find those both to be so charming and so fun. And then the Astrobot game that came with the PS5, like the little mini game stuff.
That game is so fun. Oh yeah.
It's just delightful. It's like PlayStation.
I don't know why. Sometimes I'll walk into situations ready to be a hater, which is not really my vibe usually. But I was like, this game's gonna be so stupid, and everyone's so far up their ass about like this game.
Yeah.
No, everyone was right. It was very charming, and it was like one of the best system tech demos I think I've ever experienced.
Still the best use of the DualSense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
They did such a good job showing what it can do, and it just hasn't really been fully utilized the way that thing showed.
And honestly, just a real fun look back at PlayStation, like a great highlight of the old system.
Such a great retrospective. Yeah,
nice little museum that they put together with that game. So anyway, I'm all for a new Astrobot game, like a full one. The VR game was a legitimate, full 3D action platforming game. It was really fun, and so a follow-up to that is not in VR, I'm all for. If it's in VR, that's fine too. People can have fun. I just don't see myself buying a VR headset anytime in the future. I liked the PSVR. I thought it was cool, and I've other people have shown me like Oculus Quest and stuff like that, and I think the technology is really neat. But I really tried to get into it. I invested in the first PlayStation VR. I even got the gun so I could play some of their games, like the little like motion sensing gun. There's some cool things, but it's just not there for me. I couldn't play it for more than like 45 minutes at a time before I was like, I don't want this on my head anymore. You know, I don't know.
I think it needs to, because like quality, the visuals, the actual quality of the visual, like what you're looking at, is just still not on par with regular PC and console gaming, right? So
agreed.
And just figuring out movement.
I definitely hear what y'all are saying. I think y'all are right. I use mine every day, but I use mine to work out. So it's like that's less of a.
Is it a Quest? Do you have a Quest?
Yeah. Maybe a gamification of working out. Maybe there's some gaming there, but it's really more of a tool than it is like entertainment for me. Even though there are a few experiences, and I do mean a few. Then I'm like, oh, this is like what VR is supposed to be all about, like pistol whip and so like this. Oh, Beat Saber being the original one. It's like this
Alex,
is like
right?
this is what it's
Alex
like.
Is like supposed to be. That
would be a big get if that got off a PC somewhere, like. But yeah, there are some things that like really prove, but they're so few and far between. And even when I hear about it, like, oh, this one's a pretty good one, my reluctancy to get to it is just like. I've already associated the device with like, oh, that's like not fun time. That's like workout time. You put that thing on, you do some VR, so it's like, maybe I can reprogram myself out of that thought process.
Well, there was hype for that VR one, Blood and Truth, and I got it, and I was really excited to play it. The story-driven kind of shooter, action, whatever.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
I did not like that game. I thought it was ugly, and it wasn't very fun. Now, maybe it gets really fun. Totally. Could be. And maybe I just think of VR stuff. I don't know. All those things are possible, but...
I played the Vader games on Oculus. Those were awesome.
Cool. Okay.
Vader's Immortal. And that's like, it's more like a thing where you're just kind of like, you're in a scene and like stuff's happening. It's interactive, like you're doing stuff, but like it's minimal. Yeah. But like it's effective. You know what I mean? And it's almost like when it's trying to do less, it actually works better. But I agree. Like, I don't know if we're there yet. Like, I wear glasses. Like, wearing glasses with these things aren't the easiest. You can do it. It is possible. It doesn't feel comfortable yet. The lenses still fog up, especially when you're working out. Like, not being able to see the lenses is a big deal. It's like there are some shortcomings that are just like still very much there. But
so do you guys think Astrobot will be a VR game then?
I don't think so. I think that I think it's pretty telling that the Portal is the better seller of the two extracurricular devices, and I know certain weirdos in the group would try and pass off that the VR2 sold really well.
Shut up.
It's a major runaway success or whatever. I'm not seeing it. I don't see any new IP. I'm sure you could look up a list and be like, there's a new IP right there. And I'm like, no one is talking about it. So like perception is reality.
Right there.
And perception is reality, and the perception is that it's a failure. It's a failure. Sorry, that's just life. So I just don't know. And that doesn't mean
that someone can't own it and have fun with what's on it.
I want one still. I just can't. I can't justify it in my head. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And I know that people are playing games and enjoying it. I'm playing Beat Saber again on my new $600 headset. It's like great, okay.
Yeah.
But like,
I really want to play that.
Beat Saber is cool.
Beat Saber's awesome.
Yeah. It's it is a cool game. So I don't know. I like what you enjoy. I think VR is super cool. I think there's a lot to enjoy there. I get why people love it. I like it a lot. It's just like I use it for different applications than maybe your normal person does. But yeah, I don't.
Companies investing a major IP in it, maybe.
Yeah, I think
more hesitant.
That's where it's at. Where if it's about attach rates, it's about how many can we sell of this unit compared to how many systems are out there.
Yeah.
I don't even think your PSVR2 owners are in the market to buying PSVR2 games right now, because like games aren't even selling. Terrestrial normal games aren't really selling the way they're supposed to. So I have a hard time believing niche games and niche segments of the industry are doing as good, if or I assume they're doing bad too.
Yeah.
But speaking of like you're saying not using it for games and other applications, what I've always imagined to like VR getting to eventually, hopefully, is like so games for sure. But it'd be super rad throwing on a VR headset and actually like essentially sending a signal up to like up at the space, whatever you want to call it, the what the hell's up there in space floating up there, the
like whatever telescope
space
that's
station?
Not that. Yeah, the space station. Thank you. And like actually being able to look around.
Yeah.
Or underwater.
I always said,
attach it to something underwater.
I always said its application should be for travel. So it's like,
and
there are light versions of this already where it's like you can map out your entire European vacation by like walking down the streets in VR. The technology's not there yet, but like I think that's the way to do it. Is that like, hey, I can actually go to the Parthenon, and walk around like in real time and look around like live, like while people are there.
Yeah. I think real estate companies will find a lot of value in it at some point where they can show houses from a distance when you're going to move and things like that.
I think things like that could just be really neat. Just like have that.
I think the work culture will grab it first. So instead of like the next version of Skype will definitely be on.
You guys ever seen those owl cams? I think those are cool. Where they're 360-degree cams that can like sit on a desk and then the camera. It's like a 360-degree camera, but it'll actually focus on whoever's talking. And so if you're watching it on a flat screen, you can kind of you can see the camera panning to whoever's speaking, and just put this little thing on the table. Yeah, it's really neat.
So I think stuff like that would be neat, and might even push the technology, because like, say for example, you get involved with like being with NASA and stuff, like you're getting like extra money maybe injected into that, because you're figuring out the technology, how to be able to like have people like look through whatever they have up there on the space station, like looking around down at Earth, flat Earth, be like, oh look, flat Earth
down there, flat Earth.
Yeah, looking down at flat Earth.
Listen, and not to get crass, but historically, any industry that porn attaches itself to always thrives, and I'm not kidding. Every single time.
It's actually true.
Yeah, every single time they have attached themselves to VR. At some point, VR will be the thing. It's just like. I when I think of VR, I want Ready Player One. You know what I mean? Omnitrack Omnitracks in your house. You're wearing a biohaptic feedback suit and stuff like that. Like that's until we're there. I'll play a game or two here and there, but like I just like that's VR to me. It's like complete immersion. You're somewhere else. You have a pee bag on you, like you're wearing a Dune still suit. You keep wasting the knee pads, yada yada. Like until we're there, like that's not VR.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm with you on the Ready Player One, and I guess Free Guy wasn't VR, but that idea of being immersed in the world.
Yeah, Free Guy I think is GTA Online, but with like VR. Like that's sign me up for that.
Yeah, I think it's happening. Just not yet, and not widespread enough yet, where I think companies, and right now everyone's hesitant to do too much because the gaming industry is on a bit of a lull. I wouldn't be surprised if an Astrobot game is just a PS5 game that maybe is VR compatible but not required.
The VR boom that everyone keeps on trying to replicate, what happened during COVID with the Oculus 2. No other system was selling that many numbers. Everyone was indoors. People were craving just getting in chat lobbies and like interacting with people. There's a whole documentary about it. It's pretty great. It has gone nothing but downhill since then. It didn't create a new movement or a mainstream wave. It was a blip in time, that everyone was owning one or wanted to interact with that. And I don't know. Agreed. It might be another 10 years. It might be another 2 or 3 console generations before we see something like that. So
could be. All right. By the way, speaking of, we talked about to open the episode. I was watching a lot of Conan O'Brien, and I saw one of his. Sometimes it'll be Conan O'Brien plays a video game stuff, which is always fun because it's usually really popular games, and he'll make fun of himself and the game as he plays it, and it's so funny. He did one with Starfield. I don't know if you guys saw that one, but
did he?
It's worth watching. It's very funny because he, of course, immediately falls in love with Sarah, but he does say she's got dead shark eyes, which is hilarious. But it's very
He's not
funny.
Wrong.
Yeah. And then he got to the part where in space you run into this old grandma who's alone on a ship, and you could board the ship and talk to her, steal from her, and kill her if you want. Or you can just get back in your ship, and then you can see he has this conflict of conscience, and he just blows up her ship. And after it blows up, like he legitimately feels guilty, and it's so funny that he feels bad about blowing up Grandma's ship.
Man, I killed Granny.
Killed Granny. It's so funny. But anyway, I love that kind of stuff.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was wondering if that gaming segment kind of existed outside of his show ending. So that's cool.
Yeah, that guy who games with him is actually still a producer on his main podcast now, the Conan. Needs a Friend podcast, which is incredibly successful, and he's still a producer on there, and I guess they do that segment sometimes. At least they did as recently as a year ago.
I bet he's so happy doing that podcast, like the complete creative freedom, without all the hustle and bustle of daily shoots and stuff like that. Man, what a controlled product that I'm sure he's really happy with.
I love the bits that they come up with, the best bits, and I'm sure they're annoying to people who work there after a while, like, oh my gosh, does everything have to be a bit? But as a viewer, as a consumer of this, I love the bits. Like he got to a point where there's one whole bit where he talks about, would you rather have my praise or your paycheck? Like praise or pay, you pick, praise or pay. And they're all like, my paycheck. He's like, ah.
He's just such a goofball. He's very funny. And they all have attested that he doesn't legitimately ever get mad and yell for real, but he is fake mad and fake yelling all the time, where he pretends to be a tyrant, but in real life, he's of course not like that at all. So anyway, unless they're all faking it and lying, seems like he's truly an awesome person who's really, really funny.
I've never heard anybody say anything negative about this guy. So I have a feeling it's all real.
Because even when he goes super self-righteous or like hyping himself up. You can tell it's all part of a bit he's doing. Like he doesn't actually.
Oh, it's because it's so overselling. Like that's his whole tactic is oversell it. So it can't be conceived as anything but comedy.
Right.
And if you haven't, go and watch the clips of him traveling in Japan with Jordan Schlansky, his arch nemesis, because he ruins Jordan's love of Japan, which is all founded in Karate Kid 2 being shot for real in Okinawa, Japan. And at the end of their dinner together, as they're just taking shots at each other, and Jordan is clearly annoyed, Conan had Ralph Macchio record an actual video directly to Jordan saying, Jordan, the Karate Kid 2 is not filmed there. It was filmed in Hawaii. And you can just see just the death in Jordan's eyes as his... And of course, later he claims like it didn't bother me, but you could see it. He's just so upset.
So is this a newer, like, did he do this more recently with Jordan or during TBS Conan?
I think that one was during TBS, but he still does Jordan bits. Like he'll have Jordan come in and explain like his favorite like razor products and why. Sure. And they'll just like take shots at each other.
I love the back and forth with those two so much. It's just that guy just seems like such a d-bag.
And I think a good amount of it's real, a good amount of it he leans into. It's hard to say, but I don't care. It's just like with Dudesy where it's like, hey, some of this is written by brilliant comedians and a lot of it is AI created, and I don't really care because I'm having a blast with it either way.
Yeah. There's a certain level of buying into the concept with all these like bit heavy type of entertainment pieces, and I'm ready to surrender if there's bits that are really jiving with. Like it's so easy for me to just like.
Jordan thing all started because Conan heard that his producer Jordan was showing up at 11 for work. And so he waited for him in his office. That's how it all started. And
that was with the Vespa, right? He came in with the Vespa,
and that was real. Like Jordan didn't know he was going to be there. He was really surprised. So there's an element of realness to it for sure. Anyway, all right, I thought we could close out if you guys are up for it, and if you're not, it's fine, but close out with a quick round of 20 questions, video game 20 questions. Are you guys you guys down for it?
We failed miserably last time.
No,
we won. We got on like the last couple.
Oh, did we?
I gave you a little hint, but I think it was close. So just as a little recap
or something like that, or the PSP or something.
I won't tell you what it was. But I will tell you that you are 3-1 overall. We are 3-1 as a podcast on this.
Okay. Nice.
The only one that we failed at was Batman Arkham Asylum. Was the only one that was.
Yeah, that stinks. That stinks.
But we're 3-1. I think you guys can do this one. I think you can do it. But yeah, I've got a game picked out. I've got it ready to go. You've got 20 questions. We'll do the 20 questions and a guess. So you have 20 questions to narrow it down. And then you have to take a guess after that. But as soon as you take a guess, game's over. So don't actually guess again until you feel good about it. All right, fire away whenever you're ready.
Should we just get out of the way and see if it's an exclusive at all? Exclusive third party? Yeah.
Sure, that's a good one.
Is this a console exclusive video game? Or is this a platform exclusive?
It is not an exclusive. No.
Okay. Now should we
we usually the years time? We try to
get the time.
So before what is it, before 2000 or something, or after?
Yeah, did this game come out before the year 2000?
No.
So after.
Okay.
We can start naming off. Wait, was it a console exclusive? I forget.
No. So that
so it's a third party. Okay, so
it would be.
I mean, we can try and nail down generation, but that's a little tricky sometimes.
We could try to also separate like handhelds from consoles / PC, right?
Yeah, we can do handheld, or we can try to narrow it down via like nation. Like, is this a Western game or a Japanese game?
That's also a good one. That's also a good one.
Should we burn a question on that one?
Is it okay? Was this made by a what would be better?
A Japanese company, a Japanese dev.
Are you asking that?
I don't know. I'm asking Dan if we're asking that.
Yeah.
You're asking about developer?
Is it a Japanese developer? Yeah.
It is not a Japanese developer.
So it could be.
It makes me think that it's a Japanese producer, distributor then, because he was being really weird about that. But
we should have just said, did it come from Japan?
Yeah.
But it could also be Europe and then the US, of course, right?
So. Right. Which I kind of count all that as West, but whatever.
Well, I mean, but like if it was CD Projekt Red, that would not be a US developer, right?
So, no, but it is a Western studio. You know.
Sure.
What I mean? Yeah.
Sure.
Witcher 3 is a Western RPG. Like that's
right. Yeah. It's also could narrow it down by
we could narrow it down by genre. Yeah, we can narrow it down by do you play as a human? That's always a good question to burn. We can narrow the date down even more by saying did this game come out before 2010?
I like narrowing down dates because that definitely is
let's ask that one then. Did this game come out before 2010?
No.
So it was a post. It came out 2010 to now.
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And all right, so after 2010, not a Japanese developer.
Yeah, not a console exclusive.
Not exclusive. Okay.
It's only 4 questions in. You've got it narrowed down pretty well so far.
Should we ask if you shoot in this game? That's always a big one. Do you shoot things? Because that could mean a lot of stuff, like shoot magic, shoot.
Right. It could. Because also, I mean, Mass Effect is an RPG, but you do shoot stuff, so.
Yeah, isn't that tricky? I like genre, and we can do it in threes. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, is this game a RPG, a shooter, or a what's the third genre? Why am I blanking on genres?
Let's go for. Is this an RPG?
No.
Okay, that's 5. You say action. More all-encompassing or open world.
Yeah, is this an open world game?
I don't think so. I would not classify it that way.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Interesting.
And
we can still go a couple of genres in there if you want to throw in there.
Yeah. Is this a first or third person shooter?
I would not call it that. No. Okay. I'm gonna say no.
This feels like a weird game already. Not a shooter, not an RPG, not Japanese, made by a Western, possibly made by made by a Western studio, where that is undisclosed. Post 2010.
I like the that human. So the human because
do you play as a human in this game? Wow.
I'm gonna say yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Wow. All right.
What does this mean?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I think it's safe to say yes without too much hesitation. I should have just said yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Not an RPG, not a shooter of any variety. Doesn't have RPG mechanic. Ugh, I don't know.
Well, so it could be something where we're playing. It's like a puzzle game, right? So it's like, oh, well, it's a person, right? Because like some kind of puzzly type game.
You asked me if it's a shooter, right? Not if they're shooting in it, right?
I said if it was a third person or first person shooter is what I specifically said.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like for example, The Witness, right? It's like, well, I guess you're not really thinking if you're a human or not, but you probably are, and
so it's like,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Try to narrow down another genre.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even think of any more genres for whatever reason. I'm having just multiple blanks.
What'd you ask about so far? RPG,
shooter.
Just those 2?
Is it just those 2? I don't know.
Oh, I meant like how many questions have you used altogether? But...
Oh, you've used 8.
Okay. I mean, puzzle.
You could try the grouping idea that Kyle had. I think I've heard that on GameScoop where they'll list 3 totally unconnected genres just to be like, is it one of these 3?
Yeah.
That was allowed.
It's a nice trick. I think it's a good trick.
Okay.
I literally can't think of any other genres, so just start naming off genres, Dan.
Yeah. I'm like, if it's not something, because it's like almost feels like it's not something where there's combat. So I'm like leaning into like, oh well, is it like a puzzle game or is it
is it a hack and slasher, or like a character action game where you hit people with swords and stuff?
Yeah, are we using melee centric weapons like swords and axes and things like that?
Yes.
Okay. It's Dragon Age Inquisition. That's what
it. Well, I mean,
you can play as an elf in that one too. So
true, because we didn't say only.
Yeah, that's an open world RPG.
Well,
also, right, so that's probably the big indicator that it's not that.
That's true. Well, I was
about swords and stuff. Would this be considered a character action game?
I think so. Yes.
You think so? Yes. Okay. So not a hard yes, but
because on the official page it doesn't say that, but I would say
I trust your judgment on that. Yeah.
We could ask if there were like sequels or if there's more than one.
Oh yeah, is this a series?
Yes.
Okay.
So series that's.
Do you fight demons in this game?
Yes.
Okay, but that's where my head was going. That's where my head was
going. So what Devil May Cry is it?
Well, it would be. Well,
it could be Bayonetta. I mean, are you fighting demons in Bayonetta?
Is the character male?
Yes.
The character, I meant. Yeah.
Okay. Are you a demon hunter in this game?
Yes.
14. So it's either 4 or 5.
Okay.
4 or 5.
Because of the time of when it came out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this the 5th installment in the series?
No.
Dang. Okay.
Don't forget a really early on question you asked though. It was a key one.
I don't remember any of the questions that I asked.
I don't remember.
Should have written them down. Let's go back to the tape. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Go back to the tape. Well, hack and slash. Not a Japanese developer.
Not a Japanese developer. Good job.
So it wouldn't be Devil May Cry then.
It would not be Devil May Cry. You fight demons. Yep. Good backpedaling. Good job. Good job, Dan.
Shoot.
What are American?
But you fight demons.
What's an American, or not an American, but a Western like demon killing?
I feel like it's staring us right in the face now, and now we're gonna be like fixating on Devil May Cry. We're like, it's right there.
It's not. We know it's not Devil May Cry or anything Japanese.
Right.
So right. Yeah. So we can. What? But what is a Western?
Can I pull my devil trick? No, I'm just kidding.
Shit.
All right.
I did have a reason for picking it this week. There's a connection. That's all I can say. Like the timing of this week.
Is this a story that's telling the story of a journey to the West? No, scrap that, because that doesn't have demons in it. That doesn't have demons in it. I was thinking it was Enslaved by Ninja Theory.
Okay.
Shoot.
Is it just Hellblade? Like that'd be pretty.
Well, we asked if it was the main character was male, right? So that would be yes.
Yeah, so that's a no.
Male. Why am I not thinking
Ninja Theory? So Devil May Cry there's a Western Devil May Cry.
Well,
DMC,
that's true.
Ninja Theory, DMC Ninja Theory. He's a demon hunter. It's Western.
We could.
Was there a controversy surrounding this game where everyone was really mad that a character's hair wasn't white?
Yes.
Oh,
is it DMC?
It is DMC. You guys got it.
You nailed it.
we almost backed away from it, and then when Kyle was like, "No, let's dig a little deeper."
It's for sure not Devil May Cry. Yeah, no. I forgot completely that Ninja Theory.
That's true.
Did that game? Yeah.
Which is the Senua the Hellblade connection.
Right. God, that game is so good.
Dude, people hate that game.
So good.
I don't get it.
And he gets white hair at the end of that game. I don't know what people's problem is. So, like,
I don't know, man. Well, it's because the vibe of it is quite different from the main ones, but it's
just, it's different as like it's Western instead of Japanese, but it's still a snarky protagonist, like with lots of quips.
It's just a different
kind of a shitty character,
It's a different edginess to it, but like I still
there's
like
a different edginess to it. Yes, yeah. It is a different brand of edgy for sure.
Yeah.
So this game has actually come up recently between the three of us as we've had our conversations. DMC Devil May Cry has come up a couple times. And yeah, it's really the only Ninja Theory game that jumped out to me as like, because I was looking at what other games they've made, and this is probably the most mainstream one they've made.
Yeah.
I know it was like an alternate
Enslaved
universe.
was on its way to being, because Enslaved is really well loved, but like I think DMC like really was probably the most mainstream, like you're saying. Yeah. What was the original one? Heavenly Sword.
Yeah, for PS3.
It's like a PS3 launch game. Yeah,
it was.
People like that game. I remember liking it.
And it was really the only time that I'm aware of, at least, that Capcom handed the series off for someone else to develop was DMC, Devil May Cry.
Yeah.
I think critics loved it. I think people who just played it with an open mind loved it. It was mostly criticized.
Was so good.
It's so good.
The boss fights were so good, and the story was so fun.
It was the fans who could not adjust expectations. You know, they just couldn't.
Yeah. It was inherently missing that like Japanese weirdness, but but instead it showed up with like Western weirdness. You know what I mean? Like I felt like it tapped into its own weird. Whatever, it's good. Yeah. You can get it on Steam for really cheap, and it's Steam Deck verified. So,
it is Steam Deck verified. Nice.
Steam Deck verified. Cool.
Nice. Well done, you guys. We are now, as a crew, 4-1.
Hell yeah!
Did it
in Video Game 20 questions. Well done. So far, the 4 games were, if you guys are curious, we did Shadow of the Colossus, of course, because I'm very biased. You guys got that one. Batman: Arkham Asylum, we failed. Did not get that one. Super Mario Odyssey, got that one in 10. That was a nice one. You guys crushed that one. And then Chrono Cross, you got just by the hair of your chinny chin chin. The last time we did this, because it was released in 2000, and that was what threw you off, was the time period. So you eliminated all PS1 games, and I was like, oh crap. Like,
there was a little spillover there.
Yeah, that one was and I didn't mean to, but inadvertently made that one super tough. And then this one, DMC, Devil May Cry. There you go. All right. Well, that's it for our show this week. Thank you guys for listening and watching. Appreciate your support for the show. And we'll see you next time. It's time to predict Summer Game Fest stuff. So that's what we'll do next time we see you. Peace.